Good to see you. I feel like it's Groundhog Day, and here we go.
Yeah, we got a few minutes before the kids come in. They're very excited. So, looking forward to chatting with you. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff we could chat about. Yeah, we it's cold out here, but we powered through, so we get the full 45 in minutes, I should say.
We're going to talk about seasons. That's a good one. We're gonna bring up a
Oh
couple things.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I want the kids to interact, and I've got a couple of different ideas. Let me ask you a question. Do you see like kids talking about flat Earth more than previously?
I don't know about that. I mean, just because we talk about so many things here, and a lot of what we talk about tend to be very current events focused, like, hey, what's going on in Minnesota, that kind of stuff. Um, but it would be interesting to, and I just shared with them that your concern is that, when it, by denying the flat Earth, that this is a gateway to other things that they're not being exposed to. Um, I think that would resonate with them. I think they are curious as to how they get information, who's presenting it, is it reliable? Um,
Sure.
because they do so much on social media and internet, and I mean, we teach them in schools, use multiple sources, credible source, and all of that. But still, I mean, I think they do have an interest in, okay, how do we know what we're presented with is real? It's true.
David, does your
Um,
school follow the general curriculum like that public schools follow? I mean, your class, not so much, but other classes?
yeah, I would imagine. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I'm not an expert on the science curriculum. I'm not sure the progression there. I think it goes physical science, biology, chemistry, physics. I think that's the general outline. Um, I mean, there's some electives as well. I don't think astronomy is one of them. It could be. I don't
So,
know.
so you said physics, astronomy, biology, and what was the other one? Um,
Chemistry.
Chemistry.
Yes.
So nonsense, complete nonsense, utter nonsense, and chemistry.
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, if you want to go there and all, I think the kids would be. I can't tell you how many kids come in
These are
class and
seniors, right? These are seniors.
yeah, they're seniors. It's
Yeah.
funny because how many of them come in and they're pulling out their hair over physics work or chemistry or
Yeah.
whatever. So from just even that alone,
I'm
kids are
gonna
going to resonate.
I'm gonna I'm gonna ruin or make their day. I'm not sure which one it is. We'll see.
Yeah. But no, it's always good to have both of you on here and all, and it's just I think for the kids, it gives them an opportunity to think here. So, and hello, come on in, come on in. You can go to the restroom really fast. Go fast. Go,
David,
go
how
quick.
how big is it? Can they will they be able to see this? Plenty big. This might this
Yeah, it is. I'm projecting you on a big full screen,
okay.
TV thing. So they'll no problem seeing you and
Okay.
hearing you. So, yeah.
And you remember Angels from last time? Angel?
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
remember,
thank you for appreciate you calling in all the way from Australia.
I was going to tell
And
you to
I
put your camera upside down just to, but I don't even know if they would get the reference.
um I think you have some good conversation. I know the kids were asking a lot of questions. The usual, how, why don't we fall off the side of the earth? Is there a solar system? What is the sun? What is the moon? What about tides? What about gravity? So, they're already, have a lot of questions. So I think it'll be a good conversation. And I don't know if you want to kind of maybe go in a different direction each class or just keep
We'll
doing the
see.
same
We'll
thing.
see how it goes.
See what they see where
Yeah.
they go here from here. So yeah, because um, yeah, and Angels, I appreciate you calling in from Australia. Are you near like Sydney or in Melbourne or are
I'm in
you
Melbourne. Yeah, I'm in Melbourne. Yeah.
okay? All right. Well, is the Australian Open right now taking place in Melbourne?
I believe it is. Yeah, yeah. I'm not really into all that tennis stuff, but yeah, I believe it is.
Yeah. Hello. So, good morning. Yeah. And let me do this here. I'm going to flip around our Letter Dave and Angels of Light. And there we go. Okay. So everybody say hi. Come on, let's do it again. Everybody say hi. All right.
Hey,
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you.
So
Go for it.
thanks for having us on. We don't have a lot of time here. Do you guys raise your hand if you guys are familiar with the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray? Raise your hand. Anybody? So Groundhog Day, for those of you that don't know, is a show where every day he wakes up and he has to start over with every relationship, everything he's done. This class is Groundhog Day for me. I get it 4 times today, and all the years I've been here in the past, everything I've taught those students doesn't matter because you guys are new students. You're new seniors. So it's literally Groundhog Day. It's unbelievable. I have 45 minutes, less than 45 minutes, to tell you that the last 15 years of your indoctrination, you taught mostly nonsense. Now, maybe not this class, but most classes are complete and total nonsense. But it's not your teachers lying to you. Your teachers aren't lying. Your teachers are excellent at memorizing and repeating what they were taught. And if you do that perfectly, you can become a teacher also and teach it to the next generation. So it's a little scary. It could be a little scary to say, why is the world teaching us untruths? And the question is, you got to look at this for yourself. And I tell you, don't believe anything Angel and I tell you today. You got to take the time and go look it up yourself. You got to go figure it out yourself. You have to verify everything. Angel's in Australia. I'm in Connecticut. Is that a fact, or do you just believe it? Right? You don't know it, right? If I asked you, if I asked you, can you name 5 former presidents? You probably could, from your indoctrination. But the question is, if besides the presidents that you've met in person, do you know if any of the other ones were even real? I mean, they probably were, but you don't know, right? I used to be the president of the United States. Did you guys know that? I was the president of the United States. So now you just took that information and you stored it in your subconscious as false information, no need to verify. And that's it. The next time someone says, name a president, in a fleeting thought, you're going to Flat Earth Dave said he was president, but that's not even close to being possible. And you're just going to move on. So the way we deal with reality is based on the way we see the world is based on what we were told. So when someone tells you about the earth being flat, you're immediately going to go back to all the stuff that you stored in your brain as truth. Now, when you're under 7 years old is when you're taught the globe religion, that you are taught all of these things and you store them in your mind as absolute truths. And then everything you ever watched on TV, movies, Disney, everywhere, it's all reinforcing all of that. Right. So the question is, when one of the questions was asked, how do you fall off a flat earth? How come no one's ever fallen off? There is no edge that we're aware of. You can't fall off a lake. Like water needs to be contained. You can't fall off a lake. You could fall off a spinning ball in a space vacuum, which is scientifically impossible. Right. So one other thing is people are born trusting, right? You trust people, you trust your teachers, you trust your parents. Well, guess what? Your parents once told you that Santa Claus comes around and delivers presents to all the world, a supernatural event. And he brings these presents everywhere. And you believed in this until maybe you were 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, whatever. And you found out not only are your parents lying, but supernatural can't be real. That's where they fractured your mind. And that's the beginning of the indoctrination. Your parents didn't do it intentionally. It was done to them. It's a tradition, and that's just how we go. So belief is the enemy of knowing. Belief is easy. Dave's in Connecticut, Angel's in Australia, and that's it. No more work to do. You can go out and play Xbox, do whatever you want, take a nap, doesn't matter. But if you wanted to take the time and verify where we are, you could probably do it inside of a day, but you'd have to take the time and effort. And most people just don't want to take the time and effort. So I'm going to go into a couple quick things, and then I want to hear from you guys. I want you guys to tell us why you believe in the globe religion, right? When I say religion, it is religion. Now, we're told that boats go over the horizon. Bill Nye, the lion guy with the bow tie, he programmed this into you. You've probably seen this video where a boat goes over the curve and it disappears from the bottom up. And you're saying that's why boats disappear from the bottom up. And whoops, hold on a second. Yeah, boats disappear from the bottom up. So that's a belief you have, but you never were taught that there's other reasons that boats disappear from the bottom up. right? So here is just a little example that I made. I have I have I have these little figures here. They're on a flat table, and if you notice, this one is higher than the first one. This one's higher than the second one. They ramp up just like in reality. We see the ground ramp up and the sky ramp down. This is just perspective. You know from experience that this table is flat. But if we were on a ball, from your position, you're on the top of the ball for you, and everything is down and away from you. Nothing should rise up. It should just go down and away. And as I raise the camera up, they're still higher and higher and higher, higher and higher and higher. So if we look here, I'm going to switch to a ball now, right? So if I zoom in, you can see that this guy is behind the curve, just like Bill Nye showed you. You can understand that. A 5-year-old can understand that. But when you really look at what the horizon is and why things disappear from the bottom up, you'll have a whole new understanding. If you look at the water here, the water's ramping up. It should be going down and away. It should be going down and away, but it's not. So let me just jump here. Hold on a second. I got something else running in the background. That's just parallax. All right. Where we go. So when a boat goes away, first we'll look at this one. Hold on. So the question I have for you, do you see a boat on the horizon? Right? Because we're told that boats disappear over the horizon. Do you see a boat? No, you don't see a boat. And if you were there in person, I filmed this, you would see no boat. But as we zoom in, all of a sudden these boats start getting revealed. Now, am I zooming over a ball? As Angel likes to say, Angel, you can unmute and jump in. If I was hiding behind a hill, ducked behind a hill, could you see me? And the answer is, of course not. Right? No. Yeah. So this boat here is the bottom's missing, but you'll see that these are just ocean waves and swells. And at times you'll see the surface of the water far beyond these boats. Is that behind the Earth curve? Or is it just floating on the water and the waves in the foreground are hiding what's in the background? Right? As things go away, they get smaller, but those waves in the foreground are already at a size. So your finger can hide an entire city skyline, just your finger. Right. So this is all due to perspective, angular resolution limits of your eyes, the marine layer of air, the ocean swells, and you get all sorts of effects as you go into the distance. We're watching this boat go away. I'm just, for lack of time, I'm going to zoom out, and you'll notice the boat's miraging. The real horizon is about here. So keep an eye on that area of the boat, and you'll see that this stuff is reflecting down here. It's already below the boat. And so the water's here. If you look in the distance here, this is the real horizon where you see things mirrored. And so with your naked eye, this would look like the horizon, and the horizon you're told is Earth curve, but we can see things far, far, far beyond the physical limitations of a ball. For example, you couldn't bring me a gallon of water without a container, right? You can't bring me a gallon of water without a container because it needs to be contained. Here's a lake, and it was at rest. It lays flat, and when it's frozen, it freezes flat. We got a camera 6 inches off the lake, and in the distance, we put these 4 lights at a foot off the lake. Right? 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Now, Bill Nye, the lion guy with the bow tie, told you that the Earth is so big that it just looks flat. But according to their math, the globe Earth curve calculator, which is based on the Pythagorean theorem, which is one thing that you were taught in math that is probably useful, with an added amount of crazy non-real refraction that the globe zealots like to use. This fault light should be 30 feet, 22 feet, 15, and 9 feet below the Earth curve. But they all show up exactly on what we call the horizon. So there's 2 explanations. We have the flat Earth explanation, camera, looking at 4 lights on a flat surface. The globe explanation is camera at 0.88 miles away. That's at 6 inches. The horizon is less than a mile away due to the alleged Earth curve. That's the tangent of their view. And anything below that line would not be visible. So this one is refracting up the perfect amount, the more perfect amount, and a bigger perfect amount to stop and appear at your eye level. None of them refract up higher. None of them refract up lower. They just perfectly stop to trick you into believing the Earth is flat. One of those explanations is crazy, and the other one is it just is. And you'll see that we can see too far. Here's a shot across the lake, 80 miles. Angel, what's the curvature at 80 miles? Look that up real quick.
Yeah, all right, no worries.
Yeah, at 80 miles, there's a couple miles of curvature, I think. And like with your naked eye, you can't see it, but with our super zoom cameras with infrared, we can zoom in and see these things. Now we
It's
do good.
4,260 feet.
4,260 feet. So that is the tallest building is not 4,000 feet tall, right? And here's one, and then I'll toss it over to Angel for a little bit. This is we got two oil rigs here, 6 miles and 10 miles away. The camera is just 8 feet off the ground. The horizon, according to globe math, not flat Earth math, globe math, should be 3.5 miles away. So the horizon should be way down here, which means that we shouldn't be able to see the surface of the water anywhere beyond the horizon because the water is the surface would be dipping behind. But not only can we see the water here, we can see the water in between, and we can see the water for miles beyond it. Now, does that mean the Earth is flat? Well, it either means the Earth is flat or the Earth is 1,000 times bigger than they tell us. But even at 1,000 times bigger, there would be curvature, and we have observations that would just blow that away. And if it's 1,000 times bigger, then everything they tell you about space is fake because everything, all the calculations are based off the radius of the Earth. What's the radius? A line from the very center to the surface. It's under 4,000 miles, 3,959 miles, right? We'd have to have a radius of like thousands of miles, like 4,000 miles to make observations like this if the Earth was a sphere. So the question you're going to ask is why the lie, and we'll get to that towards the end. But we can see too far. You want to talk about gravity and gas pressure?
Yeah, so basically, we're all breathing air at 14.7 psi at surface level on the Earth, and according to all the gas laws, the gas laws have a V for volume. The V for volume is the container. Without the container, you don't have gas pressure. All right. So basically, the definition for gas pressure is the amount of force exerted by the molecules on the walls of a container. And gas pressure seeks equilibrium. Basically, if we get a chamber of gas, okay, and then make a vacuum on the outside of that chamber, remove the container, all the gas will escape violently into that vacuum. So the Earth is claimed to be in an infinite near perfect vacuum. Adjacent, we're just sitting adjacent to it. There's no barrier. That's the second law of thermodynamics violation. If that was true, all of the air on Earth would violently escape into that vacuum and we'd all be dead. We wouldn't be having this discussion. We'd all be dead. And then all the water on the Earth would boil because water boils in a vacuum and that would escape into the vacuum as well. And there would be no life on the Earth. So basically, the space vacuum violates natural laws. And if I told you guys, if I took a photo of myself in Hogwarts, you wouldn't suddenly believe that Harry Potter is real. So when the government tells you that, oh, well, they're sending people to a space vacuum that violates natural laws, they're basically telling you they've gone to a magical place that doesn't exist, and people just believe it without looking and verifying the evidence.
When you tell somebody about the gas just taking off, the only explanation they have is gravity. Gravity's holding the air down. But I can take a straw with the weak low pressure system of my mouth and lungs. I could pull water and air up and away from gravity effortlessly. Now, there's a thing they don't teach you in school called electrostatics. Here we have some helium balloons, and I got just a button here, and it's like 2 inches off the floor, neutrally buoyant, and that wire goes to a Van de Graaff generator. Now, the Earth has a neutral or negative charge and the sky has a positive charge. Those are things that are testable. And so positive and negative attract. When we add with the Van de Graaff generator a higher positive charge, it goes down. Now, did we change gravity or did we just change electrostatics? Discharge it, it goes up. And we could do the same thing if we add a negative charge into something, it goes up. Right? These are electrostatics. This is the military has airplanes that use this for lift and propulsion. This is what they're hiding from you. This is why we don't have flying cars. Everybody should have this technology to be able to get around, but they don't want you having this technology. So again, gravity, even the globalists say that the electrostatic force is 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity, right? I don't believe that, but this is what they say. You guys can't even fathom what 10 to the 36 is, right? 10 to the 36, that's 1 with 36 zeros. If I took a grain of sand and I multiplied it 10 to the 36 times bigger, You want to guess how big it would be? Big as a house, big as the moon? It would be, ready for this? 10,000 times bigger than the alleged known universe. All right. So that's what 10 to the 36 is. So basically, they're telling you that gravity is absolutely nothing, right? Electrostatics, this is uh, at MIT, they have a thing called the silent drone, and it flies on with no moving parts. It's just electrostatics. Um, Here, one other thing here, just showing you an example of electrostatics right here. So flying, no moving parts. We take a balloon, it has electrostatic charge. Look at it, it's pulling the water. Can you show me an experiment with gravity doing that? Nobody has ever independently isolated gravity and experimented with it. It's just a religion to keep you on the heliocentric ball. Good. And I want to bring up one more thing, and then I'll bring up seasons, and then we'll go to questions from you guys or proofs of the globe so we can stop doing all this stuff. Angel?
Yeah. Well, basically, I just want to say that the Earth, they've given us the dimensions for it. So once it actually can't be a bigger ball. We have observations where the Earth would have to be so much bigger, it would be touching the moon right now. So, but you can't just make it a bigger ball because everything is based off the radius value of that globe being true. So if the radius value is wrong, the distance to the moon is wrong, the distance to the sun is wrong, distance to stars, day-night cycle, gravitational formulas, gravity itself, everything about the heliocentric model is wrong. And actually, everything points to the Earth being the center of creation. Even the heliocentric paradigm would agree to that because everything revolves around the Earth. We see every day and night, everything revolves around Polaris. It goes east to west in a circle all around Polaris. So just observation alone, we see that we are the center of creation, but they want to tell you that that's an illusion and that it looks like we're in the center of creation, but actually we're not. So I'm trying to tell you guys that you are special, you're divine, you were built here, made purposely to be on this earth, and you are the center of creation, and all the evidence points to it.
So I told you I live in Connecticut, which is true, but I'm not in Connecticut. I'm in Mexico right now, okay, which is right here. So last year, on about mid-February, I was here and it was 90 degrees. In Connecticut, it was negative 10 degrees. So 100-degree swing. 100 degrees in Connecticut, Boston area. It was negative 10 Fahrenheit. So that's 100 degrees. Now, the heliocentric model, the globe model, they tell you that it's tilt to the earth, even though during our northern summer, we're farther from the sun, closer in the winter. It's not the distance. It's the tilt. Well, the tilt towards the sun is same as the spin. Like the sun starts on the horizon, that couldn't be any more tilted, and it goes up through the day. During the winter, it's just lower in the sky because allegedly we're tilted away. In reality, it's just farther out. But here's the globe model, and if we account for the distance from here to here, along with the curvature, the sun is 0.00003% farther. Some stupid, unsignificant number for 100-degree difference. But if we look at it on the flat Earth model, the sun was right here, just coming off of the Tropic of Capricorn. We'll show you that in a moment. And I'm here at the end of this yellow line, and Connecticut is twice the distance. Which model does reality reflect? A globe model or a flat Earth model? On all the things I showed you before, which things does it reflect more accurately? And the one thing that Angel, I want to bring up one more thing, and then we'll go to you guys is this one. So Angel, good. So tell them what we're seeing here.
Okay, so this is a photograph taken from Pisa, Italy. It's a photo of Monviso, 296 kilometers away from a 400-meter observation height. Now, if you go to a standard Earth curve calculator that you can Google on any device, you plug those details in, and you'll find that the amount of curvature that should be between us and those mountains we're seeing is more than the mountain's height. So the entire mountain should be below the Earth's curvature over 200 feet and over 100 meters. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it. We're seeing it because we have direct line of sight to the mountain and the Earth is flat. But according to the globe paradigm, the amount of curve that should be there, we should never see that mountain in the distance there. And it's being backlit by the sun, which means we have direct line of sight to the mountains. Now, the
Yeah.
globe paradigm wants to claim
Good, good.
refraction on this, basically. They claim the globe paradigm claims every time I show people this observation or any observations where we see too far, the answer is that object that we're seeing, like those mountains, are actually below the curve. And due to light bending around the curve, we're actually seeing the mountain where it should be just making the Earth look flat. That's the globe's answer.
Yeah. So here's another one. This is from Aluja, France to Mount Canigou, which is 275 or 175, I forget, 175 miles away. And at that distance from that altitude, from that where it's viewed, the top of Mount Canigou should be over a half a mile below the curve, and you can't see it. Therefore, Earth is a ball, right? But twice a year, as the sun migrates in between the two tropics, the sun lines up with the mountain, and as it moves into the distance, it backlights the mountain. And here, all of a sudden, you can see it. You couldn't see the light that was reflecting off the mountain, but the sun is much brighter and can push through that 175 miles. So the globe explanation for this is, oh, the mountain is below the curve, the sun is already set, but it's refracting up, and the unlit mountain is refracting up, blocking the refracted sun. One of those explanations is absolutely insane, and the flat earth explanation is we can just see it because it's right there. It's going beyond. It's going beyond it. It's not going below an Earth curve. You have to understand that this line that you call the horizon is thousands of feet above your head. It's thousands of feet above your head. So when something goes beyond it, it looks like it disappears from the bottom up. I could spend the rest of the time showing you how the horizon works, how things set below the horizon, but I want to hear what your best globe proofs are. So anybody that wants to talk, you have to come up to the microphone because I can't hear anybody that's in the back of the room there.
I think if you speak loud enough.
All right, let's give it a try.
Okay, so who wants to start us off? Alice, start us off.
So I know you guys have been talking a lot about like the horizon and how like the horizon is like essentially proving how like the Earth is flat. But what do you say about time zones and how like I mean we've seen it in like an experiment. If you hold up a ball and hold a flashlight to it, half of the ball is covered in darkness and the other half is covered in light, much like time zones that we see in real time and that you experience real time when you are traveling and you go to different places. So if the Earth is flat, then why do we experience different like night versus day at different times than other people?
Yeah. So good.
So basically, we have a localized sun and moon. They're much closer and much smaller. You can get your phone light and put it slightly above a table, and the table will have day and night. Basically, we live in a medium of gas, so the light has attenuation. The sun's light doesn't travel forever and doesn't illuminate the entire Earth at once. It illuminates locally where it is. And because of that light attenuation, as it gradually moves further and further away, when it sets, it becomes nighttime gradually, right? On a globe, you got to remember when the sun is setting physically below the horizon, then if we're now in shadow, it should become really cold all of a sudden, and it should become extremely dark quickly, but it doesn't do that. So the sun moves over top of the Earth locally. Wherever the sun is, zenith to the sun 90 degrees down would be 12 noon, and then 180 degrees opposite to the Earth would be 12 midnight.
Yeah, so this is the Gleason's map, which is one of the maps that we use to map out the Earth. Now we don't have access to everything, billions of dollars and stuff. So this is a map that was removed from all the libraries in the world in the 1950s. It was taught. But think about this. When you just said you have the sun, a sole source of light, lighting up a ball, it always lights up half the ball. Well, that's not true. That's not true. There's a couple days a year where the sun lights up. They say 99% of the population. That's just a population thing, but it lights up 70 plus percent of the Earth. This is directly from the Weather Channel. It lights up 70% of the Earth. So let's take a quick look on how that works. So this is where the sun is. And if you look, South America's in the light. California is just having sunrise, and sunset is over here. The only thing in the dark is Australia and these islands. This is on August 13th, okay, every year. So we take the Gleason's map, and we'll put the sun right there where I showed you where it was, and we'll try to recreate that same shape, right? So we'll just lift it up. Now, this isn't completely accurate because we believe there's a dome that affects the lighting. But if you look, we have It's lighting in the same places. Only Australia and these islands are in the dark. All right, that works on a flat Earth map. Now let's do it on a globe. We have the globe tilted at the proper direction. If you look right here, here's in the pink is Australia, and we'll put Australia into the dark right there, right? And then we'll come around to the other side and take a look to see what's lit. Right? We come over here and problem. All of South America is in the dark. All of America is in the dark. So let's spin it, and we'll bring California right into the sunrise, and we'll bring California right over there. All of South America is lit up, and when we come back to the other side, huge problem, right? Only half the ball is lit, and which one of these observations matches reality, and which one is absolutely insane?
Connor.
Next question.
What motivation do they have to hide? Like we see like CIA things from 20 years ago come out. Everyone's like, "Oh, that was bad," and then no one really cares. What motivation do they have to hide all this?
Good, Angel. You
Yeah,
start, and then I'll
well,
finish up. Good.
like I said, number one reason is to hide your divinity and hide a creator. If we are essentially living inside of a giant terrarium, the Earth is essentially a level topographical plane that's enclosed physically. If we're inside of that, that demands a creator. Because if we're inside of a terrarium, terrariums don't show up in nature on their own. They need a creator. So they're basically hiding the creator God, which in turn then they remove his creation, and then they basically assume the role of God. And now everyone thinks that they have to work all their life and basically go to work every day and just grind every day. When we should have freedom. We should have free energy. We shouldn't be paying for electricity. We should have all these things given to us because the earth is created in a certain way. So yeah, and control.
So they're hiding free energy. They're hiding the creator. They're hiding your spirituality, hiding more land, hiding more resources, hiding scientific knowledge, hiding what's in Antarctica. And that you're the center of creation, as Angel said, and special. So that's just the beginning of what they're hiding. It's a way to contain you. It's like Truman in the Truman Show. You know, he thinks everything's been discovered already. So, you know, you are an incredible spiritual connected being. This place is way more than you were ever taught about. You were taught that this stuff like this is foo-foo nonsense. So what they do is they cap you off with a globe and they say, this is it, that you're not a connected being. You're a random speck on a random speck in an infinite universe, and an asteroid could take you out at any moment. That is the farthest thing from the truth.
All right, Elizabeth.
So if you guys believe that the Earth is flat, is there like an underside to it or a bottom that like if it's flat, is there something underneath of it, or is it only and the sun only shines on the top?
Yeah, the sun, moon, and stars are always above the earth. We live in a level topographical plane, but the deepest hole ever dug is 8 miles. The Koala deep borehole in Russia, 8 miles, which would be if you get a standard globe, like you drill a little hole in a millimeter deep. That's how far down they've gone. But they're telling you that at the core of the earth we have molten magma and all this stuff. But again, how would they even know that when the deepest hole ever dug is like a millimeter down in the globe?
So all the countries in the world agree that no one is allowed to independently explore beyond 60 degrees south, which would be about this pink line. Now, for a very expensive price, I'll take you to this peninsula right here, or this island, we're not even sure, and and show you some penguins and some ice, and then they'll kick you out. But what's out here? The question is, we don't know. I love speculating about it, but I'm going to make no solid claims. What if the Earth was like this? And what if this was Antarctica? And what if this was more land out here? Right? What if more land, extra territory? Well, who would live on the extra territory? An extra terrestrial from the outer space. So there's a lot of stories about this. There's a lot of information about it. I would hang my hat on it, but I can't make any solid claims. This was a map that was found in a Buddhist temple 10 centuries old. It was published in January of 1907, and it shows all of these extra lands out here, all of these extra continents. What if that's where, What if there's other civilizations out there? What if there's freedom out there? They don't want you knowing that there could be more. There used to be airships the size of cruise ships with thousands of people on them, staterooms, theaters, restaurants that traveled all around the world. And they don't want you to know that. They demonized airships with the Hindenburg blowing up, which was a staged event. It would be like one airplane crashing, and they go, that's it. No more airplanes forever. So again, they're hiding freedom, resources, and divinity, your own divinity.
Carter, you have a question?
Yeah. So when you guys refer to like they are hiding it from us, who is they? Is that the government? Who is
Yeah, well, so it's again, we don't even know who they are. So I'm just looking for here it is. So these are the ones that we do know. These are unelected officials. You may have heard of some of them: the Council of Foreign Relations, the United Nations, the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, and the Trilateral Commission. These are the people and the giant corporations that run the world. They're all unelected. They are running all of the governments. The governments don't make any decisions without these people telling them what to do. So there's a lot of very, very weird stuff going on. But they're doing everything they can to control you, when the truth is you don't have to let them control you.
And in my opinion, for this to answer that question, I look at it biblically. I literally think that it's kind of like God versus Satan, and Satan is the one literally behind all of the deception that happens on the earth.
Next question.
Dominic?
Now, if anyone has a globe proof, right? Because think about this: Earth is a globe. You've been taught it your whole life. You've watched movies about it. You've never even questioned it. Can you come up with one proof that's exclusive to the globe? I have a 3 Bitcoin offer out there, which I don't even mention anymore because no one's going to win it, because the Earth is not a globe. Nobody can come up with a single proof that is exclusive to the globe.
Dominic?
I don't know the globe proof. I had a different question. So, with your idea of the people in charge and all this extra land on the outside, in your mind, are the people controlling the world, are they accessing the land? Are they using it? Are they making communication there? Or are they trying to keep us completely separate?
That's a great question, and I don't want to be able to speculate about it. But we were using some ship tracking software, and we saw some ships that were in the middle of Antarctica, which made no sense. But if you go back to that map that I showed you, so if we took this map, where is it? Map. Excuse me. If we took this map here, right? Imagine this map's on a big piece of paper and we wrap it on a basketball. So all of this gets crumpled up at the bottom. And they call that Antarctica. Well, if a ship was going out here, well, if it showed up on the globe, on the globe construct, it shows up in the middle of Antarctica. That's a theory. There's lots of evidence to it that there are shipping routes out there that you would never know about. I've got some videos on a nation called Kiribati, which is a tiny little sandbar nation in the middle of the South Pacific. And these giant ships go there, and then they end up going south. They end up going south beyond the shoreline of Antarctica. So the question is, do the elite have access out there? I think they do. All the presidents, all the world leaders, when they get elected, they go to Antarctica. They disappear for a couple of days and they come back. I think they're getting their marching orders from the real rulers of this realm. Again, lot to take in. You guys are seniors. You're tired of school. You don't want to realize that you didn't waste, but you were taught a lot of nonsense and you don't want to take the time and effort to learn new stuff. But let me tell you this, if you take the time, I've been doing this since 2013, 2014. Angel's only been in 3 years, right? And it's life changing. If you actually do this, you will take your power back from the controlling bodies of this world.
We have about 10 minutes left here, so if you have questions there, Ella.
Any globe proofs? Happy to send those bitcoins right over to you.
This is not one another globe proof, but when you guys keep talking about how like the belief in that the world is a globe and this idea that the earth is not flat and this lie how we don't have freedom, I guess I'm getting a little bit lost when you bring in this idea of like creator and freedom. If the world is flat, how do any of our lives, like if what you guys believe is real, like how do our lives change? Like what is this?
What difference does it make? I still have to go to school
Yeah.
or work on Monday. That's what I said, the same thing. You know, I had my own business. I had the American dream. I went to corporate America, did well. I left corporate America, started my own business with a couple of partners, was doing extremely well, making more money than I ever thought I'd make. Life is great. I got everything. It was all about money. But then my investigation into deceptions of this world started interfering with my work, and I had to make a decision, and I walked away from it all to spread messages to people like you and others about this. I've done over 1,400 interviews, and if you watch 10 of them, you'd end up being a flat earther for sure. But it changes everything. I don't have to go to work on Monday. I'm not in Connecticut right now. I'm in Mexico. Okay, so you know everything changes when you take your power back and realize what this world is, and it's beyond unbelievable. Imagine that you lived in a building that was 100 miles wide by 100 miles long by 300 stories tall, right? 400 stories tall. Make it just a gigantic building. In there, they have trains, they have mountains, they have parks, they have colleges, they have Costco's, they have airplanes, right? You know, in this building. But anytime you got within a mile of the outer wall, they said, "Oh, no, you can't go there. Turn around. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to see." And your friend's like, "There's more. This place is more. This place is intelligently designed. It's not a big bang, made up by a Jesuit priest, Copernicus. It's something more." And you're like, "Ah, what difference does it make?" Right? You're imprisoning your own mind. They taught you to fight for your own imprisonment. This is my app, and I offer it to any of you guys for free. It's a $3 app, and there's a little subscription too, but I give it to you guys for free. All you have to do is have your teacher email me the type of phone you have and your email address, and I'll send it to you for free. But in the frequently asked questions page, there's a why the lie section right here. Why the lie? The videos in there will blow your mind. Absolutely blow your mind. But again, it's easier to believe than to know.
Elizabeth?
This isn't necessarily a globe proof, and I think you're going to tell me that it's just kind of images that are being fed to us, but when we watch like a public rocket launch and you see the rocket go up into space, and then you see the live stream of the people in the rocket that are able to see the image of the Earth as a sphere from when they're in space, how does that, like, watching the rocket go up, knowing that there are people and being able to see that view as a sphere, how is that not kind of confirm the idea that the Earth is a sphere?
Okay. Again, so even this is funny but even on a globe, you wouldn't see left-right curvature. You see an equidistant circle all the way around you. If you get a key ring and put it on that basketball, you're looking all the way around you and seeing a flat circle. So they're using fisheye lenses to do that. But number two, right? They're sending people's rockets to a second law of thermodynamics violation. They're sending it to Hogwarts and telling you Harry Potter's real. So basically, anything that goes into a law violation is not going there. I don't care if the government tells me, I don't care if a family member tells me they've been to space. I don't care if I talk to Buzz Aldrin himself. I can prove to you using science that they are not sending people to a space vacuum that doesn't exist. It violates natural laws.
Which one of these pictures is a painting? The answer is they're both paintings. Right? They're both paintings. This is a painting. Look how good that painting is. That's amazing. Right? Look how accurate. You can see the reflection in the window and the wine. Look at this. I could paint that. I'm not a good painter. This is horrible. And when you look at the clouds, they're stepped and repeated clouds. This is made in Photoshop. And that's not just us saying it. The guy at NASA that made it said he made it in Photoshop from data. And he just made it to put a specular highlight in it. He did all stuff. And it's made in Photoshop. Look up Robert Simmons, the blue marble guy.
GTA San Andreas, like from 10 years ago, had better graphics than that. So,
yeah.
Guys, this is a cartoon. That's
NASA,
a cartoon.
These are 9 images from NASA, right? So 8 of them have to be fake because they all can't be real if it's the Earth. 8 of them are fake, or 9 of them are fake. right? So they're showing it. And the thing is, it's hard to understand such a big conspiracy like this. And the next thing you guys are going to say is, well, what about Russia and China and Japan? Their space programs, wouldn't they rat us out? Right? Wouldn't they rat us out? They're all in it together. All the space agencies in the world train in Florida at a NASA facility. It's a big scam, not just for money. Money, you can look at it and say, oh, the NASA budget is bigger than everything. The space budget, world space budget, is bigger than everything else combined. It's about control. It's about making you feel insignificant and making you believe you live on a ball. That's what the fake moon landing is about, right? I mean, they're even saying now that we've never been to the moon. The NASA saying, "Oh, we're gonna go for the first time. We're gonna get into higher than low Earth orbit." They tell us the truth all the time. So before we run out of time, and then we'll finish up. But my website, flatearthdave.com, there's a section called the Crash Course. It's just videos. It's just movies. Watch 5 of them, and then you too can be laughed at by your friends and family because you'll be a flat earther.
Real quick here, because we have 3 minutes left here. Does NASA so you are very much opposed to them?
They're a fake agency talking of going into fake space. Space is a natural law, it violates natural law. High pressure next to no pressure without a container. So nobody can get into space because space doesn't exist as described.
Then a question that's come up. Then there's no solar system. There's no Earth, no sun, no moon.
If we had the time, we could know the sun and the moon are there. You can see them. They look like they're the same size because they are the same size. We're told that the sun is 400 times bigger and 400 times farther than the moon. So coincidentally, they look like they're the same size. But in reality, we can see that they're both local lights. But we look at the corpuscular rays that come through the clouds, they spread out. You can only get that from a local light. There's so many things about the lights we see in the sky, but there's no way you don't look at the lights in the sky when you can't confirm what they are to measure the shape of the floor. We can measure the shape of the floor here. The sky is, when we look at Jupiter, it's impossible to see Jupiter the way we see Jupiter. We look at the North Star, we can all see the North Star. But the North Star is only 46 times bigger than the sun. You couldn't see the sun at 8 times its distance. It would be tiny, right? 8 times the distance is a light hour, because 8 light minutes times 8, 64 light hour. 24 times farther than that, you could not see the sun. So if you put the Polaris at 46 light days away, you couldn't see it, but we see it at 433 light years away. It's all magic pseudoscience numbers that make your brain melt. They never taught you the law of large numbers in class. They taught you slave math, algebra, geometry, trigonometry. You hated them all, but they never taught you vortex mathematics or sacred geometry. Look that stuff up, guys.
Yep. David, we're about, and Angels, we're about to wrap up here. The bell's about to ring. We want to thank you for presenting to us.
All right.
No worries. Thanks. Thank you.
Groundhog Day round 2. Here we go.
We do have a student who has a question, and
Sure.
I know the bell was about to ring, so that's why.
Good.
What's up, guys? I just had one more question. So, if the Earth is flat, how come planes can't fly in straight lines?
They only fly.
They do fly in straight lines.
They only fly in straight lines.
It's called straight and level. They do. It's called straight and level flight when they level off, and they don't adjust for curvature, earth rotation ever.
Yeah. So let me just show you real quick. Give me a second. So this is where is it? Oh yeah. So this is a flight from New Zealand to Argentina. The flight aware says this is the shortest route. Right? Makes sense, right? Here's the equator up here. But the plane flies from New Zealand to San Francisco to Texas and back down to Argentina, right? We look at that on a flat Earth map. New Zealand, San Francisco, Texas, Argentina. Planes do fly in straight lines, but they show you this crazy curve, and that's what you're using as your excuse for the globe religion. Isn't that crazy how they flipped it around on you like that? You're literally arguing against yourself. Check out my website. Check out Angels of Light on TikTok. He's on live in the mornings on the way to school.
I'll check it out.
All right,
check it out. Thank you, guys.
Gotta go. Gotta go.
Thank you.
And back to square one. Here we go.
Back to square one. Well, but it was good though. The kids, you can tell you were talking, they're starting to talk amongst themselves, and they're starting to, they're starting to process. So, no, it was good. It was good. Yeah. And
Angel, how do you want to start the next class?
I think we need more globe proofs.
So want to just come in hot with bring up your best globe proof,
yeah,
and then we'll just debunk each one of them.
Yeah, you could do that.
Let's try that. We'll try that.
Yeah, we'll try that. We'll see what we come up with there.
There's like 4.
Yeah.
Then put your little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain we can't climb. Babe, I got you, babe. I got you, babe. Okay, campers, rise and shine, and don't forget your booties, 'cause it's cold out there.
It's cold out there every day. What is this, man?
Yeah. So it's a long story, but we have anyway. So yeah, I thought it went well. The kids definitely were interested. We'll be curious to see how many kids come back. So
You never come back from flat Earth.
They, well, we'll see about that. I think
what was amazing? What was amazing is the guy goes, "How come planes don't fly in straight lines?" Because this is what they show you, that the plane does this crazy loop, but in reality, it is flying in a straight line.
Maybe we start off with that, because I think the other students may have that question as well. So
I'll start off with that, and then we'll go straight into let's have them tell us why they believe in the ball religion.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Riley, how did Friday go?
Oh, it did.
Okay. Well, thank you, Flat Earth Dave, and Angels of Light. We appreciate you zooming us here. So let me just flip you around here so you can say hi to everybody. Everybody say hi.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Well, yeah, take it away.
So we're going to do this one a little different than the first class before. And when this is all done, I am going to have just our side. You guys won't be on the video. I'm going to upload all these videos. And I encourage you to watch all the classes that we do today, because I think it'll tie it all together. You guys are seniors. You don't want to, you're tired of learning. You can't wait to get out of school. And when I come here and say, well, 90% of the stuff that you were taught is not real, you weren't lied to. You were just taught what the teachers were taught. You're not going to want to believe that. You're going to reject it, and you're going to base that on all of the stuff that you were taught that you stored as truthful information. An example I gave in the first class is, did you guys know that I used to be the president of the United States? So now when somebody asks you who was the president of the United States, you're going to remember that thought, but you're going to totally treat it as untrue. And you're not even going to need to verify it, because it's pretty clear that that's not true. At least that's what you think. So again, when you have something stored as false or real, you base everything else on that. So what if the stuff that you have stored in your mind as real is false? Then everything else that you're judging is going to be false also. So real quick, we're going to jump way forward here. At the end of the last class, the guy came and he goes, if the earth is flat, how come airplanes don't fly in straight lines? And that's an amazing question. So here we have New Zealand here, right? Australia's right around the corner where Angels is, and they want to go to Argentina in South America. Now, FlightAware says this is the shortest route on the globe, right here. It's not going over Antarctica. There's other islands out here if it needed to land. No problem. That's the shortest route. But in reality, that flight goes all the way up over the equator to San Francisco, then over to Texas, and then all the way back down to Argentina. That seems like a huge waste of time and space. But if we look at it on a flat Earth map, New Zealand, San Francisco, Houston, Texas, Argentina, reality says it does fly in a straight line. Cartoons say it's flying in a curve. Angel, anything you want to add on flight? And then we'll just go to, we want to hear from you guys. It's 2026. You've been taught your whole life that the earth is a globe. You believe the earth is a globe. We want some evidence. Go ahead, Angel.
Yeah, aviation pretty much destroys the globe Earth because every pilot, whether they like it or not, has to treat the Earth as flat and stationary when they fly, just like the manuals say. There's no curvature adjustment, there's no Earth rotation adjustment, and they should be adjusting for that on a globe. Obviously, if the globe is curving down away from them at 8 inches per mile squared, they don't do that ever. I've debated many pilots, I've debated so many pilots now, and they all prove it's flat, whether they believe it's a globe or not because they have to treat the Earth as flat and stationary. And you can go check them out on TikTok, Angels of Light TikTok, where I debate all the pilots, and you'll see it for yourself.
All right, let's go. You guys, whether you know it or not, that you're in a religion. It's called the globe religion because you have no evidence. We want evidence today of what makes you believe the Earth is a globe. Right now, teacher asks you, is the Earth flat or a globe? I think you're all going to say globe, all of you. So why is that? Why would you say globe? What is the number one reason that you think the Earth is a globe? And then we can address it.
And prior to, I believe there's also a financial incentive that you've offered to disprove.
Oh
your
yeah, 3
flat Earth.
Bitcoins if you can come up with one globe proof. 3 Bitcoins. You guys know what that is? It's like 300 grand right now, right? 3 Bitcoins, and I'll send it to you today, right? If you can come up with one proof that the Earth is a globe, one, show me some curvature, something.
All right. So who wants to start us off and defend the round Earth?
And if you don't have a proof, you could, and you only have a question, you can start out by saying, I don't have any globe proof. It's 2026 and I don't have any globe proof, but I'd like to ask this question and we'll honor it. Go ahead.
So I'd just like to ask, what's your, I guess, refutation of the horizon? Why does it go down in your view?
So you don't have any globe proof. You just have a question about the horizon. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, the horizon is globe proof. I'm just asking, what's your counterpoint to it?
Yeah. Angel, you want to start while I pull up an image?
Yeah. So first of all, the horizon is the apparent location where the sky meets the Earth's surface. It's got nothing to do with curvatures, limitations of your vision. When a boat goes away from you, it should go behind the curvature of the Earth and become physically obstructed. Like if you duck behind a hill and I look at that hill and I lose line of sight to you, it doesn't matter how much I zoom in onto the hill, I'm not going to reveal you again. So when the boat's physically obstructed by the Earth curvature, when we zoom in onto that horizon, which is Earth curve, we should never be able to reveal things beyond it. But that's been falsified hundreds of times. Even by myself, I've gone out with my high power zoom cameras, zoomed in onto the horizon, couldn't see the boat with my naked eye, couldn't see it on the camera, and there you go, bang, boats reappear. So Dave, if you want to present those.
I'm trying to find my
I could actually share my screen. I don't know if that's what you want me
can't.
to
I
do
can't.
now.
I have it right here. So here's a perspective grid. I think this is the right one. Yes. So I got a guy here. His eye level is right here at this line, and this is how perspective works. The sides ramp in, the bottom ramps up, the sky ramps down, and we'll throw a mountain here. Let's say this mountain is 3,000 feet above his eyes. Right. We got the sun up here, and the sun moves away. Now it's getting lower due to perspective. Now the question is the sun below the horizon or is it just beyond the mountain? Answer is the sun is just beyond the mountain. If he went up in the air, he could see over the mountain and would see the sun again, or he could go backwards and get a better angle, better perspective. So let's make him go backwards 25 miles, right? At 25 miles away, there's the sun. There's the top of the mountain. It's still 3,000 feet above his eyes, but it looks like it's at his eye level. 25, 30, 40, 50, 100 miles, the horizon, everything just gets compressed into a horizontal eye zone, the horizon, right? So the sun goes away. Did it go below the curve or did it just go beyond the mountain? It's beyond the mountain. And it gets worse when we add the atmospheric deck up there. So even if the clouds went there, the atmosphere itself becomes opaque over 50, 60, 70, 80 miles, right? So the sun is above the clouds. It's going away. It's going beyond this line. Now, what is this line? This line is not just the top of the mountain. It's also the atmospheric deck, another 20,000 feet of atmosphere getting compressed into that line. So this line here is at least 20,000 feet above his eyes. And the sun just went beyond it, period. That's the horizon. It's not the curve-horizon. It's the horizontal eye zone.
It's credit by eyesight, not curvature. And
Yep.
if I could share my screen, I'll present the video.
Yeah, David, I think you got to let him allow sharing. Send a request, Angel.
Yeah, let me go ahead and do that.
All right. So I went out to the beach near where I live. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, middle right here. We're not seeing anything in the middle. And when I zoom in with my camera, Nikon P1000, highest power zoom camera on the market. And what do you know? A boat comes back into view. Now you'll notice as I zoomed in onto this boat, okay, we're seeing even the wake from that boat, which is not tall at all. But you'll notice that this buoy in the foreground appears lower than the boat in the distance. So if the Earth is curving down and away, which is what you said originally, we should actually see the reverse of that. It should actually curve down and away. You'd see that happening. Our eyes can detect slopes. So when we zoom in onto the horizon, we notice that all the water ramps up towards eye level and the sky ramps down because of the way we see. And this is just one of many examples. And it happens all the time. You can buy the camera yourself and do this yourself, and you will see that you can zoom in way past the horizon and reveal things that weren't visible. So yeah,
We're
welcome to
told
Flat
that
Earth.
the reason boats disappear is they're going over the horizon. Take a look here. This is these are two oil rigs, 6 miles and 10 miles away. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but according to the Earth curve calculator, the actual globe calculator, based on the Pythagorean theorem, the horizon at 8 foot observer height should be 3.5 miles away, which would be like where my finger is. So when I mean the horizon, that means that the water should be curving down and away, and I shouldn't be able to see anything beyond that horizon. But not only can I see the surface of the water in between, I can see it far, far, far beyond the other one, where there should be hundreds of feet of curvature or miles of curvature, depending on how far we can see. But there's never any curvature. Another quick thing is microwave transmissions are line of sight. So this is called the LoRa transmission from a boat to a buoy. At 10 miles, there should be 66 feet of curvature. It shouldn't work at 10 miles, but this one did 800 miles. Line of sight, 800 miles. The Earth would have been in the way the whole time. There's 426,000 foot drop. That is 80 miles of curvature, but it worked. Now, what model does that match? Does that match a globe? Curving globe, or does it match a flat Earth? We don't believe the Earth is flat. We know it's flat. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, we have a question here, Casey.
Can't hear.
We can't
You
hear
have to speak up.
What is the LoRa transmission, and why are you using it to justify the flat Earth? Like, what does the LoRa transmission mean in context of your argument?
So the microwave has to be line of sight. They admit that themselves. It has to be line of sight, and at 10 miles there is no line of sight at that height. That's why you have microwaves are high up on towers, because the higher up you are, the better of an angle off the Earth it has. There is no curvature, but it shouldn't be able to go 10 miles. It went 800 miles. Now, people will say, oh, it's bouncing off the ionosphere. But these were done at 100 megahertz. Now, at anything over 40 megahertz, they say goes right through the ionosphere. So at 100 megahertz, there is no skip. And there is line of sight, and it goes. The same thing at the bottom of the ocean. 70% of the ocean, the world is ocean. Most of that is the abyssal plain, which is the definition of flat. And submarines sitting on the bottom of the ocean can send their sonar out and see other submarines over 100 miles away. At 100 miles away, there's over a mile of curvature. It should hit that wall of dirt and come back, but instead it hits the other submarine and comes back, and they can see it. They, also on the surface, they have the railgun shot over 125 miles line drive trajectory. Line drive. They target it with a laser beam. 125 miles away, there's 2 miles of curvature at that distance. 2 miles of curvature if the Earth was a globe. Go ahead, Angel.
Yeah, so basically the reason why we're losing these, to answer your question, is because the globe Earth, the horizon, like the previous student said, should be the Earth curvature, like a physical hill acting as a physical obstruction that blocks line of sight. So if these transmissions are going way too far beyond the limitations of the globe, that they're working on a flat. If the Earth is flat like it is, the line of sight is just hitting it over a flat plane, and there's no curvature in the way. But if you have a globe, the line of sight would intersect the horizon, which is the Earth curvature, and it would be blocked. But that's not what happens. It goes way too far. The Earth is flat.
Other globe proofs. Quinn?
How do you explain time zones?
Simple. So wherever the sun is noon. So let me just show you on my app right here. So right now the sun it's noon right here in South America. So if I knew somebody that was underneath there, I could call them and say, "Where's the sun? What time is it?" They say it's noon. Sun's right above me. Right? You guys are over here somewhere. So it's 11:30 in the morning. Soon it'll be noon. I'll turn on the time zones here. Um and the time zones go with the sun. Wherever the sun is, it's noon, and it's midnight opposite of the sun. So right now, I think we have a new moon right now. That's why you go. There's a crescent moon right here. So the sun's going a little faster than the moon, and it'll lap the moon every 28 days. So the moon will start drifting back and going into a full phase until it's full opposite of the sun, and then it'll wane. So the sun keeps track of the days. The moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. There used to be 13 months of 28 days. And the stars keep track of the years, the seasons and the years.
Yeah, we live on a perfect map and a clock. The Earth is essentially a 24-hour clock.
Right. And when you look at the heliocentric model explanation for why the stars never change, I mean, we are whizzing, traveling 4.5 billion miles a year, corkscrewing through space. And the stars never change. You can go out tonight, take a picture of the stars, and they will be the same stars as you always see. They go out next year, 10 years. They'll always be there. Get a pipe, line it up with the North Star, nail it to your house or whatever, and then look at it for the rest of your life. The North Star will never move. But we're moving 4.5 billion miles a year. How's that possible? We're moving 193 million miles from side to side every 6 months, and traveling 4.5 billion miles every year, never to return to where we were before. But for some reason, the North Star always stays there. And for some reason, all of the luminaries, sun, moon, stars, planets, asteroids, every comets, they all circle Polaris. Let that sink in. They all circle Polaris, not the sun.
So are you suggesting then that instead of circling the sun, that they kind of circle the Earth?
They don't circle
we are
the
the
Earth.
center of creation.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, everything revolves around Polaris, which is the North Star, which is right in the center of our world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything revolves around it east to west.
They all make these spirograph patterns around Polaris, all of them. This is an asteroid, right? They all go around Polaris. That is impossible because Polaris is only important to the Earth because it's, where our axis points. Like if you lived on Saturn or Jupiter, if that was really a place, which it isn't, you wouldn't care about the North Star. You'd have your own North Star wherever your pole points, right? The Georgia Guidestones in Georgia had this little hole in it, and Polaris was always right in the middle of that hole. It was up for over 40 years, and it never moved out of the hole. So we made a video showing the Earth is supposed to be wobbling, and it should have been way out of that hole after 40 years, and it wasn't. Video went viral, and then a terrorist blew up the Georgia Guidestones. They bulldozed it a couple hours later, no investigation, and our rock solid evidence was taken away because this is the most important lie that they have. That this is the one that they control us with. Go ahead.
Okay. Stoke, you have a question?
I was gonna say, how do you, if you're saying that like things like asteroids all like circle a specific point, and how do you explain like interstellar objects like the one that flew through our solar system the last couple of months?
Did you see it?
No,
no one saw it.
No one saw it. It's a cool story, bro, but told by the liars at NASA and Disney. None of it's real.
Like that's not particularly conducive. Like when you see videos of people doing like private investigations, or like when you see videos of people investigating or like looking through telescopes and seeing it, you can't like. I feel like that's not.
There's a light in the sky.
Rather than seeing like.
Yeah.
If you see like if you see like one government institution proclaiming like a particular like you think that's a lie, but if you see like hundreds of people putting out videos, do you think that they're all under government control, or do you think that they're all also lying?
All right, so first of all, the space vacuum violates the second law of thermodynamics and all the gas laws. If the space vacuum existed as they claim, we'd all be dead. We wouldn't be having this discussion. All the gas on Earth would escape into it and we'd all be dead. So when they show you videos and live feeds or photos from Narnia, a magical place that doesn't exist, you don't believe it because Narnia is not a real place. So when they show you a photo of AI Atlas or all these things from a space vacuum that violates natural laws, then it's fake. So if the Earth is essentially an infinitesimal small dot in an ever-expanding universe, breaking all the gas laws and the second law of thermodynamics, if that was true, all of our gas would violently fill that vacuum in an instant, and we wouldn't have air on the Earth to breathe. The Earth is an enclosed system.
Do you guys remember? You guys aren't old enough, but maybe you remember the story of the Challenger space shuttle that blew up with a
Yeah.
teacher on board. You guys all know about it, right? So let me ask you a question. Do you guys believe in doppelgangers? A doppelganger would be somebody that looks exactly like you. It's possible you could find somebody that looks like you, but would you be surprised if they had the same name and they had the same their same age and and out of the 7 astronauts, 6 of them had exact doppelgangers that are all working at universities, right? These are people that speak alike, right? This is the teacher. They all work at big universities, and they're still alive today. These are the Challenger astronauts. And we actually, there's some great videos on it where we brought this up at a hearing in Brevard County where NASA is located. And the hearing members didn't even they wouldn't even let us finish. It was another guy, Justin, that did it. And he ended up suing them for stopping his right to speak. And they settled out of court because they were about to go to court and it would have been an amazing reveal. And they're like, no way, you can't take this to court. And they settled because it's all a lie so big. The space shuttle was the first, the Challenger was the first time they ever wheeled televisions into every classroom nationwide. Every kid saw this, and it's called trauma-based mind control. They literally love traumatizing the world because you guys won't believe any of this, but this is more of a spiritual war that we're in, and it's about energy. And when you guys start getting old enough to understand what that means and what this place is, then you'll start to understand why they do this.
All right. Other questions for so let me get some new folks in here, Josh, and then we'll start working this way.
How do you define global warming if the Earth is flat?
First of all, the Earth's not a globe and it's not warming.
There you go. It's all lie. Before it was global cooling. They said we're going to have an ice age. Then they just changed it one year. They go, Al Gore said in 1980 that in 10 years Florida is going to be under 10 feet of water. And it still hasn't happened. All of the elite that are screaming about global warming are buying mega mansions on the shorelines all around the world. So they know that it's all nonsense. It's all about fear and containment. They don't want us driving cars. They don't want us, flying in airplanes, but they all fly in their private jets and do everything else. Again, once you understand the way this deception is going, they're literally treating us as cattle on their farm.
Okay. Kate?
Do you believe that any astronauts have gone to space?
No, it's a law violation. So if I spoke to any astronaut out there, I could show them a demonstration of why space violates natural laws. They will not have an answer to it. I've debated PhDs, astrophysicists, scientists, you name it. Nobody on TikTok can refute my argument when I show them that gas pressure violently fills vacuums. So if they claim that the Earth is in a vacuum adjacent to it with no physical barrier, like I said, if that was true, all the air on the Earth would escape into it, we'd all be dead.
And there's
if you're in a car and we spray gases in the car and we open the sunroof, the gases just escape, right? And if we make the car and drive it into a vacuum chamber and then do the same thing, all the gas is going to violently fill the vacuum. So again, Earth, it can't be in a vacuum. We'd all be dead.
In the scientist section, pilots and scientists section, there's several astronauts from other countries that admitted that space is fake. They've never been to space. Buzz Aldrin himself said it to a little girl. He said, we never went. He was asked by a college student and he said, she asked, what is the scariest moment? And he goes, it didn't happen, right? These guys are seriously controlled, but they're slipping a little bit. If you look into all of the history of many of the astronauts that tried to whistleblow, it's amazing. The accidents that happen to them, and they disappear from the scene. So you have to take the time and look into this stuff, and then you realize this is complete and total nonsense. Most of the astronauts are lying. Well, I don't know. I can't even say that. Some of them are hypnotized. They think they went to space. Like what's the dummy's guy's name? Angel.
Yeah, Don Pettit.
Don Pettit. Yeah, yeah. I mean, these some of them, but the other ones are they're just liars, and some of them are AI at this point. We don't even know. I mean, you guys are in a time where you don't know what's real anymore.
So the pictures of like man on the moon, space stations, all that's false.
It's all we can spend hours going through. On my app here or on my website, you can even find some of the videos. But I have a thing called the ISS. It's all about the ISS. It's just we catch them fake after fake video of they're using green screens, they're using harnesses, they're in zero G planes, and all sorts of glitches. And at this point, I'm like, are they actually doing that on purpose? Are they letting us see this on purpose? This is from a live feed. What about the live feeds? What's this line? What's this line? I'll tell you what this line is. This is just from a high altitude shot of the flat Earth, and they wrapped it around a ball, and they had a stitching issue. Right? This was on an ISS live feed. Right? A live feed. Right?
Also,
and then,
guys, you got to remember that they train in the neutral buoyancy lab. They admit that they have an ISS replica under a pool, and we see bubbles in space in the actual live feeds.
This is on a zero G plane. It's a plane that does a parabolic arc, right? And years ago, I was watching a news show in the morning. And they said we're going to have a rare short video interview with the astronauts on the space station. And during the interview, this happened. They slammed into a wall. And they cut the feed right away. They slammed into a wall. Like, what is going on here? Now, watch right here. See this roll of duct tape? So I'm going to go back. This guy catches two items with one hand like a pro, right? This was supposedly a sudden shift in the space station. But if you compare it to a zero G flight, right? When it comes out of the parabolic arc, everybody falls down. So I took that video, I flipped it sideways, and compared it to that. It's the same damn thing, right? So something happened in their parabolic arc. They came out of it sooner than expected, and it went out live on the news. That's why they don't do any actual real live recordings of people on the space station when they're floating. They do it sometimes when they're on wires, but when they're doing, heavy duty real floating, they can't do it on the zero G anymore because of this.
Okay. Brooks.
I have two questions. The first, my argument would be that so the moon is observably spherical. Like we can see that the moon is a sphere, and for it to be spherical, it is three-dimensional, so it has volume, making it very dense. It's really heavy, right? And if it's really heavy, that means the Earth needs to be like exponentially more heavy or more dense than the moon for the moon to orbit the Earth. If the Earth is a two-dimensional object, it will lack the weight it needs to like have the moon orbit the Earth. What would be your reasoning on how the moon orbits the Earth?
Yeah, so you're mixing a heliocentric nonsensical model with the flat Earth model. We're not balls. We're not massive balls with unproven gravity. It's not mass attracting mass, right? That somehow this moon is more reflective than this rock. I'm standing right next to the rock, and the sun is shining on it. It should be millions of times brighter than I'm seeing the reflection at 250,000 miles away. But you said that the moon is obviously a sphere. Is this a sphere? Is that moon a sphere?
It's an image that is shaded to look like a sphere.
Okay, so we pick it up. It's a half a sphere. You're kind of right. Is this one a sphere?
Could be.
It could be. It's obviously a sphere, right? Because it's obviously a sphere, isn't it? But in reality, it's flat. All right.
Okay.
How about the? Hold on. Just hold on. Is this one a sphere? Is this one a sphere?
We don't know.
You don't know, but it's obviously a sphere because it's a cup. My bad. Right. So when you look up at the sky, you say that the moon's a sphere. It might be a sphere. I think it might be a sphere. But you can't claim that it's a sphere. And the question is, when there's a new moon, where does it go? It disappears for 2 full days and no one can ever see it. Where does it go?
But also, we only ever see one side of the moon. which would imply that it's a two-dimensional object. It's known as a lunar disk and a solar disk as well. But if you get a sphere and you cast a light onto that sphere, it's going to have a specular highlight as little concentrated light right on that spherical object. The moon doesn't have a specular highlight like it should have if it was actually a sphere.
Right. The moon is a light in the sky, and it behaves just like a local light in the sky.
It's not like a planet then?
No, there's not a place you can go. I don't think the moon is a physical place. I think the moon that we see is literally a projection inside the dome of some sort. But again, I can't make any solid claims because I can't touch it. I don't know how far it is. I do know that it's local, and you can prove that by the rays that come off the moon on a hazy day. They show that it is a local light. If the moon was far away, the lights would come in parallel like the sun is supposed to, but they don't. Neither of them do.
Let me get Nico, so he hasn't asked questions yet. So I'll make sure everybody gets a chance to ask a question first.
I had another question about the moon. So in the spherical world realm, the moon has a congruent orbit with how Earth rotates. It is orbiting us at the same rate that we are rotating as a planet, but we have photographed, like actual photographs taken from actual telescopes of the far side of the moon. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so again, we don't have anything. The government has showed you something that violates natural laws. They've shown you a cartoon, right, from space, which is, again, if I show you a photo of me in Hogwarts, you're not going to believe in that Harry Potter's real. So when the government shows you photos, videos, and live feeds from Narnia, a magical place that doesn't exist, it's not real. I can prove with science that those photos can't be taken because the location they're taken from violate natural laws.
Right. And I literally just went by it. I had a picture of the moon. Oh, backside of the moon. This is supposedly the backside of the moon. Is it? Or is that a dirty frying pan or a dirty taco, patty? Right. I mean, you're seeing stuff by given to us by NASA, which has proven we've proven that they lie. So you can't trust anything from them.
Okay.
Oh, here's what I want to show you. Wait, hold on a second. You talked about the speeds. So the moon is moving at just over 2,000 miles an hour, right? The Earth is moving at 67,000 miles an hour. So right now, this has to go 2,000 miles faster than the Earth to pass it. So when it goes over here, right? Let me just speed up. When it's over here, it's got to now slow down to 67,000 miles per hour. Now it has to go even slower so to let the Earth pass it. And then when it gets right here, it's got to start speeding up again, or the Earth is going to run away from it. What is the mechanism that makes the moon speed up and slow down?
It's not a circle, it's an ellipsis.
It's an impossible thing. And there's a thing called the three-body problem. Are you guys familiar with the three-body problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't model three bodies, but we have thousands, millions, trillions of bodies that are all doing the exact thing like perfect clockwork. They never change. The stars never change. The orbits never change. When we have a planetary alignment, everything should go haywire, but nothing changes. Somehow the sun, made out of helium and hydrogen, which defy gravity on Earth, has enough gravity to hold on to Pluto, but it doesn't affect our moon as our moon comes around the Earth towards the sun. It doesn't yank it away, speed it up, or slow it down as it tries to go away, right? It just magically only holds on to planets, and planets magically only hold on to their moons. And the gravity from Jupiter doesn't perturb any other orbits. It's all nonsensical BS that you just have to believe from a religious standpoint.
Kaylee, you had a question?
Flat affected your relationships with like people around you, like your family?
That's a great question. It's sure there's certain people that are not ready for this information, but I'm all about truth. You know, if you can't handle truth, that's your journey. That's fine. And I've been doing this long enough. I still have tons of friends. I have tons of new friends. Flat Earth is a big thing, right? This is on my app. These are people that are using what we call the friend finder, right? So if we look here, this is a lot of people. These are all people that know the earth is flat, right? This represents less than 1% of the people that know the earth is flat that are looking into it here in the UK, right? This is worldwide, right? And again, most people don't even know about my app, right? So this is just showing you that this is a growing movement. You'll once you go flat, you'll never go back. Unless you're, the phrase is once you go flat, you never globe back. But the truth is, it is growing faster and faster and faster. But the problem is, it's easier to just believe than to actually take the time and learn.
Riley, you have a question?
Out of all the things they could lie about, why do you think that they chose to lie about the Earth being spherical?
Well, for starters, if the Earth is truly how we claim, and it's essentially an enclosed system similar to like I guess a giant terrarium, well, then that wouldn't necessitate a creator. Okay, if there's literally now a physical barrier in the sky holding in all our gas pressure, because according to all the gas laws, you need a container to have gas pressure, then you got to ask yourself, who would have built this physical barrier in the sky? And the answer is God, right? So they're hiding God, which in turn then they assume the role of God, and now everyone has to grind. They think they have to grind every day and work 9 to 5 and all this BS, right? When everything should be like basically all of electricity should be free for us. We should have free energy, free cut, free everything. And there's more resources and land that they could be hiding from us.
You're going to spend the most of your life, most of your work efforts are going to go to pay for gas for your car, gas to heat your house, electricity to run your house, run your car, whatever. That's going to be the bulk of the money that you make, and it's going to be for that energy. And there should be free energy, right? They're hiding free energy. They're hiding the creator. They're hiding your spirituality. They're hiding more land. They're hiding more resources. They're hiding scientific knowledge. They're hiding what's in Antarctica. They're hiding that you are at the center of creation and that you are special. They're hiding your true abilities to thrive in this incredible world. We are incredible spiritual connected beings. And what they did is they literally capped us off with a globe. And they said, oh, that's it. There's nothing left. We're running out of room. It's overheating. We're running out of oil, dinosaur juice, which is nonsense, right? Oil is abiotic. It's just all the empty oil wells are full again, right? They don't want you to know that there's ample water, there's ample everything. We're told that there's a water shortage. Gaddafi found an ocean of water. He was feeding all of Africa, and the United Nations blew it up with depleted uranium bombs after 40 years, the biggest aquifer project. And you were never taught about the Great Man-Made River. Write that down. The Great Man-Made River by Muammar Gaddafi, right? You were taught that he was a tyrant. He was one of the greatest leaders of all time, but you were taught the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we got a few minutes left here. Gabby?
Tried to fly an airplane.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, speak up.
What would happen if you tried to fly an airplane over the ice wall of Antarctica?
Angel, go.
Well, we don't really know. It's all speculation. There was a person, allegedly Freemason, Admiral Byrd, that supposedly flew over and he discovered more land. But at this point, it's all speculation. There could be more land, or there could be the container of the Earth that's enclosing us all. We don't really know. We're not allowed to go there. There's an Antarctic treaty all around the south. They've basically drawn a circle around the Earth, the 60th south parallel, and we're not allowed to independently go there and explore. So it's all speculation.
Yeah, and we keep finding fishing vessels hundreds of miles inside of the shoreline of Antarctica. When you look at how the flat Earth was converted into a globe, it makes a lot of sense that there's actual boats going beyond what they call the shoreline of Antarctica. There's been people that have gone down there, even with permission from their country, and they get turned around by the military. They get jailed. Their boats get seized. Their boats get sunk. They get put in jail. The place is off limits to independent exploration.
All right, we got a few moments left.
Before we go to the next question, Don't believe anything Angel and I are telling you. You need to go verify all this stuff. Follow Angels of Light on TikTok. If you guys are on TikTok, Angels of Light __. And he does these live debates. His videos are great. Check out my website, flatearthdave.com. Scroll down to where it says Crash Course. If you watch the first 5 videos, you will be a flat earther. So don't do it if you're not ready. Right. Also, my interviews, go watch. I've done over 1,400 interviews. I've been on Roseanne Barr, Jim Brewer, InfoWars, many Coast to Coast AM, many podcasts. Go watch some of those. But the thing is, you're seniors. You don't want to learn anything else. You're done learning. You're ready to get out of school, and enjoy life. But this will change your life forever if you take the time to free your mind from the matrix. That's globe is the matrix.
Okay. Let's do Josh, and we're going to do a quick sweep here. We got 6 minutes left.
If the Earth is flat, how do satellites work?
Oh yeah, they admit that they put satellites up on balloons, and actually, if you look up Thunderhead balloon systems, they admit that they have satellite technologies on balloons that they send up. If you look up Project Echo, Project Loon, NASA's been putting up satellites with balloons since like the 60s. But again, that has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. Actually, most of our communication comes from underwater sea cables and towers, actually like 99% of it. So.
Okay. All right, Brooks.
I'm gonna be existential and follow like the reasoning of Descartes right here. All right, so if you stated that some of these astronauts are AI and a lot of the information we're taking in is false. And with that reasoning, we have to question everything, right? We have to question what is real and what is not. If they can fake a person such as an astronaut, what is concrete proof of your existence? How do I know that you exist beyond that computer screen if I'm just getting an image on a TV, just the same as I'm getting an image of an astronaut?
Listen, it's getting to the point where you're going to need to question that. You can come to Mexico and meet me in person. That's how you can do it. But I'm not saying that that the majority of the stuff that we see from astronauts are AI. I think some of the astronauts we see on the space shuttle are AI. Some people are just hypnotized, and others are just liars. And again, the International Space Station could not work. I mean, if you watch, if you know about air pressure, things explode when they're put in a vacuum, right? You put something in a vacuum, it explodes. For example, a football suit, football. Think of a spacesuit, right? It's soft. It's kind of like a snowboarding suit. Here's a football, which is tougher than a spacesuit. Put it in a vacuum and it explodes. How come the astronauts in their suits don't explode in space? Because the space vacuum is worse than the vacuum of this. This didn't even get to full vacuum. Again, the International Space Station is a physical impossibility, which the greatest build ever, technological build, but they forgot to film it. Good, Angel.
Yeah. Also, they had an astronaut that they put in a vacuum chamber to test the suit out, and actually his saliva started boiling with the suit on, and he passed out in the vacuum. And then now they train in the neutral buoyancy lab, which they have an ISS replica in a pool to train on, and then we see bubbles in the live feeds.
Yeah. So they've only put an astronaut in a vacuum chamber on Earth once, and it almost killed him. But it works fine in space. And they built the space station in space for the first time. They never assembled it here on Earth. Different countries making different parts, and they put it together, but they forgot to film it. Right? Again, you're believing nonsense because you were programmed. The first thing you learn in school is the sun and the moon and the orbits, right? Why are they putting that into you? Because it is the foundation for everything else they're going to lie to you about. You've been lied to your whole life, and to face it could be painful for some people's egos. You have to let your ego go.
We got just a few minutes left here, Quinn, and then we'll see if we can get to everybody here. We'll see. We got 3 minutes left.
So you mentioned earlier, I think Angels did, of the laws of thermodynamics. So which of but you believe in thermodynamics, but you don't believe in gravity. So when do you think they started lying about this, and like the scientists started being liars?
Well, it's funny because that apple fell on Newton's head in 1666, and then I guess he never saw anything fall down in his life, right? It had to take an apple to fall on his head to say, "Oh, look, things fall down." But actually, scientifically, no one has ever isolated, manipulated gravity, and actually, the gravity models are all wrong. It's not even mass attracting mass anymore. They've probably taught you that in school. It's actually false. It's not mass attracting mass anymore. It's the bending and warping of space-time, which is crazy because you can't bend two concepts and have them create something. Like it's never been isolated, manipulated, or proven, and never will be because it's false. It's just a religion to keep together the heliocentric lie.
Gravity's never been proven, never been isolated, never been experimented on, never. It's just a theory, but the proof of electrostatics is real. Walter Lewin, a great MIT professor, says that everything's held together with electrical forces, right? MIT built this silent drone, no moving parts. It's using electrostatics to lift and propel. And in reality, they took ether out of the periodic table, right? You didn't even know that ether used to be the first item in the periodic table. They can pull energy out of the air to power this thing that has no moving parts. We should all have flying cars that never need to be refueled. But they don't want you to know that this technology exists. They say, oh, free energy, that's crazy. That's a national security thing, right? This is what they're hiding from you. Just that alone is enough, right? Because if we had freedom to travel, we had free energy. They brought back airships. There you go. Time to go.
Yeah, it is time to go. We want to thank you, both of you, for taking time out and presenting to us.
There you go. And Groundhog Day starts again.
Yeah, Groundhog Day. We keep it going.
Yeah. Is this the last class, or we got two more?
We got two more, yeah, because so many kids want to take Polyred now. Or next semester, next year, we'll be back down to three because another teacher is going to be helping me out. So this is just a one-year thing, having four classes.
Dave, I want to do it with all of your teachers, not the students. I want your teachers to come talk to Angel and I. We'll do it after hours.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I want to do a class with your teachers, your science teachers, your Polyred teachers. No kids. Kids could come also.
Yeah,
but I want to talk to your
teachers.
teachers.
I could ask,
and we want 2 hours.
I could ask. I could ask the science department if they'd be interested.
And tell them I'll donate the 3 Bitcoins to the school, right? To their class, anything they want.
Okay. So. Probably what I'm going to do is for the next class intro you, and then I just have to step out for a moment, and then I'll be right back. So. All right, so we are good. Let's cook, let's roll. So, we're very fortunate. We have Flat Earth Dave and Angels of Light, who is zooming us from Melbourne, Australia. So actually, they're both global, international. Flat Earth Dave's in Mexico, so we've got international dynamic.
How dare
going on
you
here.
say global? How dare you? How dare you?
Uh-oh. We have Flat Earth stars here. So my bad. First off, everybody say hi to Angels of Light and Flat Earth Dave.
Everybody.
There we go. All right, I'm just going to turn it right over to you.
All right, we're gonna keep this opening short because we want to hear from you. It's 2026, and your whole life you believe that the Earth is a globe, so you must have a reason. And I'll mention at the top because David brought it up in the last class. Is I offer 3 Bitcoins if you can come up with one globe proof, and I'll send you those Bitcoins today for one proof that's exclusive to the globe. You guys are seniors. And I have some bad news for you. 90% of what you were taught over the last 15 years is garbage. And you need to start over and learn what's really going on in this world. Not the stuff you learned in this class. David's a great teacher. And your other teachers aren't lying, by the way. They're just good at repeating what they were taught. Also, the way to become a teacher is to memorize what they tell you, and then you can regurgitate it. That doesn't mean it's the truth. It just means that's what you're told to teach. On the flat Earth, we have a local sun. It's small. It circles around. It travels between the Tropic of Capricorn, which is this outside yellow line, and the Tropic of Cancer. It spirals in. I'll make it go in. What's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it goes in our summer. It's closer to us on the inside. So we have longer days. The sun is higher in the sky because it's like a closer street light. It's higher in the sky. And it's winter in Australia when the sun is in here. And when it goes back out, September, October, November, December. And it goes back out there. The angel has his summer, and we have our winter because the sun is far away. It's very, very simple. Flat Earth is the only thing that makes scientific sense. The heliocentric model is all pseudoscience, made up memes and nonsense that break natural law. So we want to hear from you. Your best reason that you think the Earth is a globe. If I ask each one of you right now, flat or globe, you're all going to say globe. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're going to say globe, you have to have a reason other than that's what they told me, right? So let's hear your best evidence for the Earth being a globe. Who's first?
Who wants to start us off here? Why is the Earth round?
Spherical. We think the Earth is round. It's round like this, like a coin. It's all right. It's like a pond. Hello. Got to speak nice and loud.
Oh. How do you explain like transcontinental flights and things like that? Like, how does it work that we can go from where like the 6 and the 6 is on the clock? Like, how do you guys explain that? If it's not a globe, then how are we flying around it?
Good.
Well, the same reason I can travel from the room I am in now and go to my kitchen over, and my house is not a ball, right? Traveling over the surface of the Earth, actually, pilots in airplanes, they treat the Earth as flat and stationary when they fly. They don't adjust for Earth curvature. They don't adjust for Earth rotation. You can check out my Angels of Light, my TikTok. I debate many pilots, and they all prove it's flat, and I've got it all recorded. You can go watch it for yourself. I've actually debated pilots at the airport too, and they admit that they ignore curvature because there is no curvature to the Earth. So basically, you just travel across the surface of the Earth and you reach your destination and you fly like the Earth is flat and stationary.
Right. So this is the general map that we use. So the equator is right here, right? And so the northern is the inner circle. And if you want to fly anywhere in the northern inner circle, you just draw a straight line in between the 2 points. And that's basically the way the plane goes. Now they'll show you a little curve, and I'll show you why in a second. But the problem comes to when you put this on a ball. So imagine this map wrapping it around a basketball is flying from like a southern location here to here. On a flat Earth, it's a far long distance. So let's look right here. So going from New Zealand to Argentina, right? Tip of South America, New Zealand, Australia, where Angel is right around the corner there. FlightAware says this is the shortest route. It's the shortest route. But for some reason, the flight doesn't go that route. It goes all the way up into the northern hemisphere to San Francisco, then to Texas, and then all the way back down to Argentina on this big arch. Why do they do that? Well, if you look at it on a flat Earth map, New Zealand, San Francisco, Houston, Texas, Argentina, it's a straight line. There's hundreds and hundreds. There's just endless of examples of this. And there's also a thing called emergency landings where planes have to land because somebody, is having a baby, having a heart attack, whatever, and they land in places that make no sense on the globe. But when you look at it on a flat Earth map, it would be right along the line, the straight line in between the origin and the destination. So flights prove the Earth is flat. Airplanes fly over the Earth plane.
But when you're on a plane, sometimes you can see the curvature of the Earth.
Good, Angel.
Okay, well, from 4 times higher, they admit that you can't see the curvature of the Earth at 127,000 feet, which is, again, 4 times higher than a commercial airplane. I traveled from Australia, where I was, into America, and I actually met Dave in real life, and the plane flew straight and level the whole way at a tilted 2 degrees nose up to maintain lift. The air has to go underneath the plane, not over it. And like I said, I debated the pilot at the airport who admitted he doesn't adjust for curvature, just like every other pilot. You're not seeing curvature even on a ball because we see an equidistant circle all the way around us, globe or flat. So if you get a key ring and put it on a basketball, and imagine you're in the center of that key ring and you look all the way around you, you're going to be seeing a flat circle all the way around you, even if it is a ball. So you can't see left to right curvature.
There'll be no left to right curvature. This is 127,000 feet, and we have the sun, a local sun, giving us a hot spot and a flat horizon. Right? This is 127,000 feet. Remember, you're only at 30,000 feet, 35,000 feet on an airplane. So there is no curvature. Now, you're also looking at a curved window that's going to cause a problem. And there's no curvature. No matter what height you're at, ground level, up high, atmosphere, it's all flat. And if you don't use a fisheye lens, that's the thing is most people use, fisheye lenses.
So you're saying that what we see as the horizon, the curvature is actually kind of an optical illusion?
Well, it's a limitation of your eyes. Go ahead, Angel.
Yeah, so the horizon is the apparent location where the sky meets the Earth's surface. It's actually got nothing to do with curvature. It's created by the way you see. If you get a hallway, it converges, the floor ramps up and the ceiling ramps down. If you're inside of a Walmart and you extend that Walmart 100 miles in all directions, and you look straight ahead of you, I'm on one side and Dave is on the other, and we try to look at each other, the ceiling's going to ramp all the way down to a convergence point, the ground's going to ramp up, and if we look all the way around us, if we're standing in the middle of that 100-mile Walmart, it's going to have a flat horizon, and it's not a ball.
It's going to be circular horizon. So this was a bunch of students sent this balloon up, and it went national news everywhere, worldwide. There's like students film the Earth curvature. This is a fisheye lens. Anything above the center curves like the Earth, and then anything to the right, bring it back, it's curving. This should be straight. It's curving. If it was below, it would be convex. And again, in the video, there's concave, convex as the camera's moving around. But they gaslight you and show you this little shot here. Again, look here it is. Curve, flat. It's flat when it's in the middle, and it convexes. So this is the curvature that they show us. If it goes way down, you'll see it'll be a big convex. So again, nobody has ever seen any curvature. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson, every time we show something, Neil deGrasse Tyson, the high priest of scientism, comes out and he has to do damage control. And he said that in the Red Bull jump, the guy that jumped from 127,000 feet, he said he saw the curvature. It was clearly a fisheye lens. And Neil had to admit it was a fisheye lens and that you can't see the curvature from even that height. So go ahead. Next.
Who's next?
Why do you guys think they're lying to us about the Earth being round?
Angel, go.
Like, what's the point of them of like NASA saying that it's round?
Yeah, because basically the Earth is created. If we live inside of the Earth, a level topographical plane that's enclosed, that would necessitate a creator. So what they've done is they've hidden the creator from you and his creation, then they've assumed the role of God, and now they've told you what to do and what you can't do. And they want a nation of workers and not thinkers. And basically, we should have free energy. We have a lot of things where there's an Antarctic treaty that goes all the way around the Earth. That's drawn a circle around the Earth, and they said you can't independently explore past this location. And we've had numerous evidences that there could actually be just past Antarctica more lands. So they could be potentially hiding from you even just more civilizations and everything, and we're not allowed to even go there.
They hide the world from us like this. They take our flat map. This was a map that was in all encyclopedias, libraries until 1950s. They cut it out, and then they wrap it around a sphere, and they say, this is where you live, and no one is allowed to independently explore this white area. Right? This is where you live. They're spinning it around. Now, if we did the same thing to Angel in Australia, whoops, hold on a second. What happened there? Did I make that go away? 1, 2, 3, transition, and it's gone. Oh, there it is. All right. So if I did the same thing let's over here. So here comes Australia. Oh, come on. Where is it? Where does Australia go? All right, so there we go. So here's Australia. Let's say Angel lived in Australia and the government said, you can't go 500 miles offshore. So we draw a circle 500 miles out. And anytime you get out there, warships will stop you and say, you can't go out there. There's nothing out there. There's just penguins and ice. Just stay away. Right. And you're like, okay. And they take that circle, they wrap it around a globe. They teach you that in school. Right. You have no proof of anything. You'll never know about Russia, Europe, the United States, Africa. You won't know about anything. Right. You'll think that's your whole world. And that's what they've done to us.
Is they like the United States government? So like all the government.
I didn't hear you say that again.
When you say they, are you referring specifically to like the U.S. government, or do you think there's like lots of countries that are like colluding on it?
Well, it's not even lots of countries. There's unelected officials, unelected people that run this world. Where is my? Here we go. Round table. Sorry. So there's these groups, you might have heard of them: the Council of Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the Club of Rome, the Bilderberg Group, the United Nations. These and all of the big corporations actually run all the governments in the world. Governments have no power at all. It's all run by these unelected officials, or whatever they are. And the real rulers might even be where we don't even get that we don't even know about. All of our world leaders go down to Antarctica right after they're elected, and they disappear for a couple of days and they come back. And there's so many weird things about it, but maybe that's where they're getting their marching orders from, people beyond the shoreline of Antarctica. Don't know.
Then why haven't we had like I feel like so many people would need to be in on the secret, and we haven't had any like government whistleblowers.
That's not true. We've had tons of whistleblowers. We have whistleblowers from NASA, from other space agencies, other astronauts, people from high up in corporations. But the problem is it's all done over fear and control. There's so many people that are not in the know. There's people at NASA that don't know that NASA's fake. One of the guys that was in the control room during the moon landings said, this is his exact quote: "We did simulations so many times that when the real moon landing happens, we couldn't tell the difference between the simulation." Does that sound weird? He couldn't tell the difference between a simulation and the actual thing. How does he know it was the actual thing? Because his government would never lie to him?
No, because you practice so that you are prepared. Like I think they just did the simulation so they're prepared. So
yeah, so when the real thing came, if they were going to fake it, all they would have to do is another simulation and tell him it was real. And people say, I can't believe that the government would lie to me. Guess what? That's a fact. You can't believe it.
So the moon landing simulation being accurate would be equally expected under the view that it was fake and under the view that it wasn't fake. So that piece of evidence doesn't point in either direction, but you were trying to use it as evidence that the moon landing was fake.
Well,
yeah,
no,
how would you know?
Go ahead. Yeah, I was just saying, how would you know? I mean, there's so many issues, right? Here's a guy. He's standing here. I'm just making this short here, and you watch. Look here, 1, 2, 3, 4 reflectors, 4 lights. Where did those 4 lights come from? There's only one light source up there, and that's the sun. And the other issue is, if we watch him from the beginning, over here we have the sun. The shadow is going that way. We just pan to the right a little bit, pan to the right. We're just going straight across. And now his shadow is going away. And he just goes a little farther to the right, a little farther, and his shadow is completely switched directions. That's a local light source. Again, there's also a whistleblower on his deathbed. He had cancer, and then his son, when after his father died, made a video telling about exactly how and when and where they, and named names and dates and everything of how they faked the moon landing at, I think it was Edward Andrews Air Force Base, or and it's out there. You just haven't seen it. Google will not feed it to you. You need to find it. On my app there's a moon landing hoax section, NASA whistleblowers, that you can find it in there.
Okay. Other questions or
Right here.
proofs?
Yeah, moon mission nonsense.
How do you
Colton?
explain gravity?
Okay, well, basically, it's density, buoyancy, and electrostatics. So, helium balloon is not an anti-gravity device. It's just less dense than the medium, and the rock is more dense than the medium, so it goes down. We also have an electrostatic gradient in the atmosphere constantly discharging towards the Earth, creating a small downward bias. But the force of buoyancy supersedes that to determine directionality. And if you get an apple and you throw it in water, it goes through the air because it's more dense than the air, and it'll float on the water because it's less dense than the water.
Here, we're just changing the electrostatic charge of this button, which is neutrally buoyant from these balloons. We added more of a positive charge to it, and it's attracted to the Earth, which is neutral or negative. The sky is positive. These are things that we can actually test and manipulate scientifically. Gravity has never been isolated from electrostatics or tested at all. We can add a negative charge into something, and it goes up when we add a negative charge, right? MIT, again, we talked about free energy, created this silent drone, which has no moving parts, and it's just pulling energy, and it's lifting with electrostatics. The Navy, or the Air Force, has the XRT-3B triangle aircraft that lifts and propels by electrostatics. They're telling us that they have this technology. We should all have this technology. They can probably pull the energy straight out of the ether, which was removed from your physics books. It was taken out of the periodic table. They're like, oh, the ether doesn't exist because they can't let us know about the ether. When you learn about this stuff, you'll understand why the lie, because they're trying to keep us fenced in. They're trying not to let us live to our true potential. They're afraid of us. And that's why they keep us in a state of fear and lack.
Does gravity fence us in though if there's a field like if there even if it wasn't gravity and there's the electromagnetic or
Electrostatics.
Sorry, doesn't it still still there's like a force holding us to the earth? Like
Gravity doesn't fence you in. Gravity keeps you locked into the paradigm of living on a globe, which was created from a big bang, which a Jesuit priest made up, right? He just made it up. He said, oh, there was a big bang. Once upon a time, there was nothing, exploded, it became everything. And then little rocks stuck together and they created gravity. And all of the gas, which gas normally just fills the available space, decided to collapse upon itself and create stars, right? The idea of a nebula where stars are born is the dumbest thing ever. Like, if a nebula is gas and dust in space in a vacuum, why doesn't it expand? And if it is collapsing into a star, why doesn't it all collapse into a star? Why does it make a little star and spit it out like a ping pong ball machine? It's stuff that you never thought about because you just trusted the guy in a bow tie in a lab coat. He told you that, and therefore it has to be true. You believe in what you're told because it's easier to believe than to question.
So, like, every scientist has to be in on the conspiracy.
Not true.
theory.
No, the scientists that they're not proving the shape of the Earth. Unless you want to give me a scientist who's actually of today who's proved the globe, I'd love to hear it. But science has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. You don't need to use use the scientific method to determine why things happen in nature. Like, if we observe something in nature, we do a cause and effect relation with an experiment to determine what caused that. That has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. Scientists, we've debated and spoke to PhDs who are not in on it or lying or anything. They just believe the globe. Like, teachers believe the globe. They're not lying to you. They just believe the globe and are teaching you the false information. But again, science has nothing to do with proving the shape of the Earth. Scientists don't do that. That's not.
But you can use science to prove the shape of the Earth. But they haven't done it because your brain stores information as true or false. I used to be the president of the United States, and Angel was my vice president. Okay, you guys just stored that in your subconscious as completely bogus. No need to verify it. And if anyone ever mentions who's the president of the United States, I may remember that, but I'm never going to say it because I know it's untrue. But when you're under 7 years old and everything you're taught by the teachers, the ones that you respect, that are in the textbooks, that are on the worksheets, is telling you something, giving you the core belief of your world that you live on a spinning ball and men walked on the moon, that's going to be the foundation of every decision that you make for the rest of your life. That's how they completely control you. Because if you believe that men walked on the moon and that we live in a space vacuum and we evolved from pond scum into monkeys into humans, you may believe that breathing on grandma would kill her.
So, other questions? Other questions? All right, Ben.
What are your thoughts on telescopes? What are they illuminating?
Well, telescopes don't really illuminate anything. They just use an optical instrument to see further. And I've used telescopes and high-power zoom cameras to debunk the globe. We see way too far. The globe radius value has been debunked, and therefore the whole heliocentric model, which is based upon the radius value being true, is false. We can zoom boats back into view over the horizon. We can see way too far.
Right. This is supposedly a gas giant, like 50 times, 1,000 times bigger than our sun, trillions and trillions of miles away? Or is it something much smaller, something else, something that you and I can't even describe? This is a star. This is actually a star, right? Here's a star, Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse, it's called? Betelgeuse. Totally different, energetic. It seems sentient to me. Here's one you can see with your naked eye, Arcturus, and it flashes all these different colors, and you see these little wheel inside of a wheel. Well, there's biblical verses that talk about angels being in the sky, being stars with a wheel inside of a wheel. I'm not saying I know what a star is, because I certainly don't, but it's certainly not what they tell us. And based on this thing called the angular resolution limits of your eyes, and distance makes things smaller. We can only see at certain distances. We should not be able to see almost all of the stars and all of the planets at the sizes and distances that they tell us. Absolutely, it would be impossible, scientifically provable. Now, that doesn't tell us what it is. It tells us that they're lying about what it is. It doesn't tell us what it is, right? So falsification, which is easy to do, is independent of replacement, right? If I could say, somebody stole a cookie in my cookie jar, and I think it was David, your teacher. And he's like, well, Dave, you're in Mexico. I'm in the United States. I'm like, well, until you can tell me who did it, I'm going to blame you. That's not fair. We can falsify that he did it. So again, we don't know. Flat earthers are not afraid to say that we don't know something. Right? This is a nebula, right? You're probably shown this Crab Nebula. This is supposedly a star manufacturer, big stars, right? Suns come out of this thing. Are you kidding me? Right? If it starts collapsing into a sun, it gets hot enough, and wait, why isn't the gas expanding? What makes it shrink? What makes it pop into a ball? Once it's a ball, how does it know not to get any bigger? And when it's done and it pops it out, does it go park itself in the galaxy somewhere? Right? You never thought these things through because you were taught them as facts, and you let that go into your subconscious brain as the truth because you were taught it before you had the ability to discern. And now it's fractured. They fractured your mind, so you're unable, or it's very difficult for you to accept the fact that stuff in your brain is stored as truth, which is completely false.
All right, Tyra.
So then on the topic of stars, how come you can't see certain stars depending on where you are in compared
good one. Angel, get him up.
Yeah, so imagine if you're inside of a Walmart and we extend that Walmart to be 100 miles in all directions, and I'm standing on one side and you're standing on the other, and we look horizontally at each other. The ceiling in the Walmart's going to appear to converge all the way down due to the eyesight, and the ground's going to appear to ramp up. And it's going to create a horizon right in front of you, which is the limitations of your vision. That's what the horizon is. So, yeah, in a small Walmart in a big Walmart that is 100 miles in all directions, we wouldn't be able to see the other side of that Walmart, and it's a flat Walmart. And then if I look up, I'm going to see amount of lights above me, and you're going to look and see another amount of lights above you, and they're different lights.
Right. So if Angel and I were sitting in a Walmart, and we're looking up at the lights, and they're random lights, and I go, look, that looks like a horse, and that looks like a starfish, and that looks like a snake. He's like, yeah, I could see that. And then he goes for a walk down aisle 6, and he walks for a couple miles, half a mile away. I can't see him anymore. His angular size has gotten too small for me to see. The ceiling has ramped down, and the ground has ramped up, and it has created a line that appears to be at my eye level. And I can't see him anymore. So he walks 3, 4, 5 miles, 10 miles, and I call him up on a cell phone because I yell. He can't even hear me. I call him up and I say, hey, look up. Do you see that horse? You see that starfish? You see that snake? He goes, no, I see completely different lights. I'm like, Walmart's a sphere, right? No, It's just he's on the other end. The stars that we see are local. These street lights. Are they all the same height? Sure they are, right? This is the sun going away into the horizon, right? Is this sun going below the curve of the Earth, or is it just
we're not seeing it, Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
still on
sorry. My bad. Thank you. I always do that once. So these street lights are all the same height, right? Are these street lights going below the curve of the Earth? No, they're just merging into the horizontal eye zone. Here's the sun, same thing, right? Sun's going away. It's going into this density, this, I call it the atmospheric deck of opacity, right? All of this over distance goes into this line. Now, this line looks like it's at your eye level. I'm going to say that line 10,000 feet higher than your eye level. And the sun just goes beyond it, period. And you can't zoom it back in because you can't zoom through opaqueness.
So do you guys think the sun goes like back and forth?
No, it goes around like this. It circles around once every 24 hours. It spirals in to June 21st into here, Tropic of Cancer. That's when we have our inner northern summer. And then it spirals back out to the Tropic of Capricorn. That's where Angel has his outer southern summer. Angel's having summer right now, and we're having winter. That only works on a flat Earth. Check this out, right? This is I've showed this in the other class, but last year, so I'm here in Mexico, and it was 90 degrees middle of February last year, 90 degrees, and it was 10 degrees here in New England, right? 100-degree difference. Now on a globe with the curvature and the distance of like 1,100 miles, the sun is 0.00003% farther away. That's insignificant for 100 degrees. That's the globe model. On the flat Earth model, the sun was right here near Capricorn. It's working its way back in. So January, December, January, February. And I'm at the end of this yellow line, and New England's out here at the end of the green line, twice the distance. Which one makes sense? Twice as far from the sun explains 100-degree difference versus an insignificant fraction of a percent. Flat Earth makes sense.
If you make like a fraction where you have 100 degrees divided by the temperature of the sun, that's like a pretty, like 100-degree difference relative to the temperature of the sun is a pretty small difference. Like you're looking at an absolute 100-degree difference, and then
I'm not measuring it's not the temperature of the sun, it's the temperature, the difference from where I am to where that is. Right? If it was the tilt of the Earth that made the seasons, then at every day at sunrise, it would be absolutely arctically freezing because the sun is down on the horizon. It couldn't be any lower in the sky. Right? It's not the height, it's the distance. Right?
Yeah, so the absolute distance between the sun and the Earth doesn't change much, right?
Well, according to your paradigm, it does change. And when it's winter in the north on a globe, the sun is actually 3 million miles closer. So imagine if you get a ball and you put it closer to a campfire, is that ball going to become colder? The answer is no. But that's actually what the paradigm claims, because when the sun is in the south near me and it becomes, because the sun is closer to the south, it's now summer. That's just how it works. Well, it's winter in the north, obviously. But on the globe, because they claim it's on an elliptical orbit and it gets physically closer and further from the sun, in the south, the sun is closer to the Earth. But it gets colder in the north, which makes zero sense.
I want you to notice that everything you guys have brought up makes more sense on a flat Earth than on a globe Earth. We're looking for globe proof, right? If the Earth is a globe, obviously we should be able to prove it. If the Earth is a globe, there is a physical limitation on how far you can see from a certain height, and we can see far beyond those limitations. So where's the evidence of a globe other than they told you about it in school and NASA showed you cartoons?
Yeah.
How do you explain the solar eclipse?
The moon moves in front of the sun.
Yeah. So
But do we not have them like where does the moon fit in with the sun when it's going around the flat Earth? Like where does the
Go
ahead.
Well, the sun and moon move above the Earth, east to west in a circle.
Yeah.
And eventually they catch up to each other because the sun actually moves faster than the moon.
See the
in
moon
sky.
falling behind here? The moon's falling behind. after 28 times around, the sun will lap the moon. So the
Yeah,
phases of the good.
So basically, when the eclipse happens, they intersect each other, and the moon basically goes in front of the sun to create the shadow. Now, this is the funny part, though. They claim that the moon is 2,160 miles in diameter, which is 6 times 6 times 60. And if you get an object and cast a light on that object, the object's shadow is either going to be bigger or the same size as that object. But the shadow from that moon, which is basically the size of America, is a tiny little shadow about 300 miles in diameter.
70 miles, the shadow, isn't it? For solar eclipse?
They keep changing. They keep changing it, but last I heard it was about 300.
You can't make a shadow either. It could be the same size, but it would be bigger. Try it. Get a light, get a basketball, hold it down on the ground, and also put a basketball on the ground at noon and notice the nice tight shadow around it. Now lift it over your head, and the shadow dissipates. Just in 10 feet, the shadow dissipates. Now, for the lunar eclipse, right? The lunar people say, "What about the lunar eclipse? The Earth is casting a shadow, and only around Earth could cast a shadow." There's so many problems with that, but the biggest problem is for the Earth to cast a shadow on the moon, the Earth would have to come in between the sun and the moon, because that's the official explanation. But there's a thing called the Selenilian eclipse, and that's where the observer can see the sun above one horizon and the moon above the other horizon, and the eclipse starts. Worse than that, the eclipse comes in from the top when it should come in from the bottom. As the Earth moves up, it should come in from the bottom. So here is, whoops, wrong one. Here is what we see. We see the eclipse come in from the top, but we should see it coming in from the bottom.
And also, guys, for the lunar eclipse, the moon turns blood red and shadows are not red. And also, if you get two spheres, I've just done it on a live before on my TikTok, Angels of Light on TikTok. I got two spheres set up with the light, and I cast the shadow from one sphere to the other. And the shadow on that sphere was actually a straight line. If you get two spheres and cast a shadow from one to the other, you don't get a circular shadow.
100%. And when you actually take all the eclipses that happen in the world and you line them up on a flat Earth map, they make a circle. Weird. That's bizarre. Coincidence? I'm not a coincidence theorist.
Other questions?
So, like, if you think the Earth is flat, do you think the other planets and, like, the sun and the moon are flat too?
Well, the sun and moon are known as solar lunar disks, but we've never really been able to go on the other side of the sun and moon independently to even verify that. But no, the funny thing is, right, galaxies are flat disks if you look it up on Google. And actually, if you look up, is the universe flat on Google, it's going to say yes. It's called the flatness problem in cosmology.
And when we look at, when they're the only thing that you've seen from other planets is from NASA and Disney, and at this point, Disney is more credible than NASA. So you are shown nonsense. You're showing absolute, complete and total nonsense cartoons, right? It's not what we see. Let me just pull up planets here real quick. Oops. So here is the top row is what NASA shows us, and that's they get crazier than that. And this is what all of our consumer optics show us. These are lights in the sky, right? We shouldn't be able to see these things so bright for reflecting sunlight back at us. It doesn't work that way. And all of the planets are circling Polaris. They all circle Polaris. All the planets, the sun, the moon, even the alleged comets, the lights in the sky, they all circle Polaris. Let that wrap that around your mind, right? They all circle Polaris, which should not happen. That's an actual impossibility in the heliocentric model. This is the picture of Saturn that they show everybody. We took it off their website, cranked it up in Photoshop, and you can see that it's a horrible construct with layers and stuff. There's no excuse. This is a made in Photoshop nonsense. And then they'll show us pictures of planets. Here, this is a picture of Jupiter. I mean of Pluto, and it happens to have a little desert which is the same shape as Pluto. What are the odds of that? Right. And they're both discovered in the same year. Pluto was created the same year Pluto was discovered. Weird.
1930.
Yeah, 1930. And if I showed you these and told you that they were planets, when in fact they're the bottoms of frying pans, if NASA told you, you'd believe them. They look better than some of the stuff NASA shows us. Those are frying pans.
Mhm. All right. Kiki.
But what we believe, why should
Can't hear you.
brainwash us?
Say again.
Project.
Like, why should we believe that you're not just trying to brainwash us, like you said? The government
I
does?
told I maybe I didn't say in this class, don't believe anything we say. Go verify everything yourself. It's up to you. Belief is the enemy of knowing. You believe that I'm in Mexico right now, but you'd have to verify it. It would probably take you all day to verify it. And it's just not important enough to you. The question is your life, is what you see this world, is how you understand your existence more important than playing with your friends? So that's the question. We're not trying to brainwash anybody. You've been brainwashed, right? David's trying to give you guys a chance to see some things and investigate yourself and use your God-given common sense to figure out what this place is. But it's up to you. You can lead a man to flat water, but you can't make him think critically about the shape of the earth.
Do you think there's like an end of the earth? Like could you walk off of the earth if it's flat? Or like is there an underneath part of the earth?
Good, Angel.
Yeah, so the same reason how I'm enclosed in my house in an enclosure, right? I can't fall out of my house. The Earth is an enclosed system. The gas pressure requires a container, and we're breathing gas. So according to all the gas laws and the second law of thermodynamics, Earth is an enclosed system. They tell you that the Earth is an infinitesimal small dot adjacent next to a near perfect vacuum. If that was true, all the air on the Earth would escape rapidly into that vacuum, and we'd all be dead. There's no edge to the Earth.
Well, so we don't know what's out there. This ring, this could be Antarctica, right? Maybe it's just a frozen area, and maybe there's another sun out here, right? And these are more lands, and then out here there's another sun, right? These are just different worlds, extra land, extra territory, extraterrestrials. This is just a possibility, which is scientifically possible versus the heliocentric model, which is completely not possible. So here's how I would like to see the universe. I don't know if this is real or not. It could be, but if we lived like the center of this pond, this local pond, here are other ponds. They all have their own suns with other lands. So this would be your universe. These would all occupy a different piece of the plane, which one might call a planet. Each one of these ponds would be a planet inside of a extended flat earth. The question is, what's out here? You can keep asking what's out here, but in your model, you live in an ever expanding universe that is expanding. Is it 1 billion miles a minute or something? It's something stupid. What's it expanding into? That's your model. Your model is your universe is expanding into nothing, right?
That came from nothing.
That came from nothing. It's absolutely, it's insane.
Where did the flat earth come from?
Where did what come from?
The flat earth.
They've been teaching
What do
flat
you mean?
earth for ever until the mid 1900s.
I meant like how was the earth created? Like if the earth being round is not possible being from the Big Bang, like how would the flat earth have been created?
Yeah, God created the Earth. The Earth is created.
But
It's a
couldn't God
construct.
have created a round earth?
Me personally, I look at it. I take Genesis 1 of the Bible pretty literally. I think that the Genesis 1 depiction of how the Earth is and what it is actually true. Essentially, a level topographical plane that's enclosed and similar to, I guess, a giant terrarium, and we're in it.
What verse says that the earth is flat though?
There's over 200 verses. Page 1, line 1. God separated the waters from the waters and created the firmament.
And also Job 38:14 says that the earth takes shape like clay under a seal. If you press out a wax seal, it's flat with upturned edges. And it's funny because the first person that went up into the stratosphere really, really high up, I don't know how high it was off memory, but Auguste Piccard said that he saw from that balloon what appeared to be a flat disc with upturned edges. And you've never heard about him. You probably never will until now.
Yep.
Let me ask a question. I know we're getting near the end, and maybe you could share what made you convinced of the flat Earth? Because I know, especially you, Dave, you were not, that you're a kind of a convert, if you
We
will.
we all have the same story. I was investigating some of the other big deceptions of the world, and people started sending to our podcast, our social media, hey, have you looked into flat Earth? First, I thought it was a joke, and then I started banning people. I'm like, you're banned for life. You're too stupid to listen to our podcast. And then finally, another researcher who I trust very much, he said, Dave, I think the Earth is flat. You got to watch these videos. I'm like, all right, let me see these videos so I can debunk this nonsense. And that was back in 2014, and that's back then. YouTube was like, hey, you like that? Here, watch this. And their algorithm fed you other stuff on the same wavelength. And I don't just believe a video, right? I don't believe a video. A video shows me evidence that I can go out and test. So I went out and I bought at the time the P900 super zoom, most powerful zoom camera in the world by Nikon. And I went down to the beach on a cool, clear, calm day. And I zoomed in on a buoy that was over 10 miles away. And not only could I see the buoy, I could see the surface of the water beyond the buoy. Well, that buoy should have been behind a 6-story building, 66 feet of curvature. 60 feet of curvature with my viewing height, right? So 60 feet of curvature, it should have been behind a physical limitation. That's like taking a basketball, holding it in front of your eyes, taking a little toy car on it and rolling it over the curve so you can't see it anymore, but I could still see it. Right. So 10 miles doesn't sound like a lot, but according to their Earth curve calculator, I should not be able to see that by over 60 feet. And I can see it. That was the thing that got me right there.
All right. Well, we're about to wrap up here. The bell's about to ring. We want to thank both of you for taking time and speaking with us.
Yep. Check out Angels of Light on TikTok. If you have a glow proof, to show up on his TikTok and give it to him, and then he'll call me and I'll send you the Bitcoins. No problem. And then check out flatearthdave.com. Go down to where it says crash course. Watch the first 5 videos, and then you'll know how the world is, what the world is not for sure. And it's a globe.
All right. All right. So we're almost there. One more.
Groundhog Day again. Here we go. Starting over.
There we go. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, let me flip you around, and that way everybody can say hi. Everybody say hi. All right. We want to thank both of you for taking time out of your schedules to speak with us. I was going to say we've gone global. I will not say that. We've gone international.
Worldwide.
Yeah, we've gone worldwide. That's what we've done. And I know you're Angels of Light, you're talking to us from Australia, and Dave, you're in Mexico. So thank you for carving out time to speak with us. And at this point, I'll just turn it over to you.
Angels from the land out over. Go ahead, Angels. You start this one.
All right. Well, the positive claim is that we're a globe in an outer space vacuum of 10 to the minus 17 torr, and the radius value is 3959 miles, which means the Earth should curve at 66.6 feet for every 10 miles distance you travel over the Earth. Now, the problem with this is you can't have gas pressure without a container. You can't have gas pressure sitting next to a vacuum without a physical barrier between them. The gas will rush into the vacuum. So if that was true what they were claiming, then we wouldn't have these observations where we can see way too far. And the horizon is the apparent location where the sky meets the Earth's surface. It's the limitations of our vision, but they've told you that that's due to curvature of the Earth. But when we zoom in past the horizon, we can reveal things that weren't previously visible, such as boats or buildings or mountains. We've got long distance observations like Dave's got on screen here, where all these mountains are visible, and most of them should be below the curvature of the Earth entirely, and we're seeing them. And there's many examples of this, not just an isolated event. And anybody that has a high power zoom camera can go out to the beach, look at the horizon, and you'll see that it ramps up towards your eye level. And you can zoom in onto that horizon and reveal things yourself. And then you'll see that the horizon is just the apparent location created by the convergence of your eyes. Now, what we're looking for here today is exclusive globe evidence that the Earth is a globe, scientific evidence or observational evidence, but preferably something that we can go replicate ourselves with. That's not just a, appeal to authority fallacy or just because the, photos from NASA and that, but we can debunk all that too. But we're really looking forward to hearing your exclusive evidences for the globe, and we'll see what you got.
There you go. So
apparently there's a financial incentive.
The financial incentive is if anybody that can provide a globe proof. It's 2026. The Earth is a globe. It's a physical place. If anybody could prove that the Earth curves or is spinning or anything that proves it's a globe, you win 3 Bitcoins. And you don't have to share them with anybody else.
Wow.
Bitcoin.
What is that? How long that's like?
It's a lot of money.
It's not 300,000, but it's close to $300,000.
All right.
So he's very confident.
All right. Fire away.
Yeah.
What's your prove that the Earth is round?
Spherical.
Spherical. My bad. Now let's start us off.
You have to speak really loud if you're far away from the mic.
What about like the sun and the moon? Like, how does all that work? How does the moon orbit the Earth if it's flat?
Well, the sun and moon move east to west around the Earth every day. That's what you've seen your entire life. East to west are circles around the Earth, and basically the sun and moon circumnavigate over the Earth every day to create day and night.
They're small, they're local, they're the same size. If you look here, here's where the sun is. It's about 1 o'clock your time. So if you follow this line up, you're somewhere right under here. It's 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock now, right? Yeah, no, I'm sorry, you follow this line up. So wherever the sun is, it's noon, and the sun lights up an area there. Depending on how far out it is, when it's out here, I believe that the light is wrapping around the dome, which gives you that shape. And then when it moves inward to the Tropic of Cancer, February, March, April, May, June. So when it moves into June, you can see it kind of makes a more of a circular shape because it's not wrapping around the dome. And these things match the lighting patterns that we see. On a globe, the sun should always light up exactly half of the ball. And that's not the case at all. There's a certain day, a couple times a year, that the sun lights up over 70% of the Earth. That's impossible on a ball, but it works perfectly on a flat Earth.
So just to extrapolate a little further, then folks will say that the Earth revolves around the sun, and you're saying that's not the case. It's the opposite.
So let me ask you a question, Dave. When you go out in the morning or anytime and you see the sun in the sky and you come back a couple hours later, you see the sun in a different position. Did the sun move across the sky?
I would say in a heliocentric model, no.
Well, it did move.
We've moved.
Well, you see the sun move across the sky. I'm asking you what you observe.
Oh,
Forget
okay.
what you know. Your first day on Earth, you're sitting there for 6 hours, and the sun goes from
the sun moves. Yeah,
the sun moves, and now you're sitting there for 6 hours. Do you feel the Earth moving? Forget what you are told. Forget what the heliocentric model. I'm asking you what you experience.
Yeah, I don't feel the Earth moving.
Right. When you look at a lake on a non-windy day and it's perfectly glassy surface, is the lake moving?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. You're on the hot seat today.
Yeah, I'm in the hot seat today and all. I would say, I guess not. No,
So that's what you experience, but you're told that we're corkscrewing, we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, right? And when I say spinning, that means we're going in a circle at 1,000 miles an hour. Now, well, that's only one revolution per day is what they'll say. Well, if you were on a merry-go-round and it was circling at once per day, you'd barely know that you're moving. You'd barely sense it. But if you expanded that out to 24 miles in circumference, now you're on a merry-go-round 24 miles in circumference, it's going a mile per hour. Now, it's not very fast, but you can feel it. Now we expanded to 24,000 miles. So now it's going 1,000 miles an hour, curving off to the right. You're going to die. You're not going to be able to stay on that thing, right? It's like if you go to the adult merry-go-round at a amusement park, you know, little smaller people can't go on the outside horses, even though they're going the same rotational speed as the inside horses. The outside horses will throw you right off. And so we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're orbiting at 67,000 miles an hour. These are all curved trajectories, and we're chasing the sun at over 500,000 miles per hour, but you don't feel it. You see the sun move across the sky, but it's not moving. You're moving. This is what you're being told. This is what you're making your claims based on what you were told rather than your God-given common sense, your God-given senses. Angel, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, and also turning is acceleration, right? So if we're inside of a plane and it starts turning at 1,000 miles an hour, you're gonna feel that motion. But if you're on the Earth that's turning 1,000 miles an hour, you feel nothing. So
Okay. Spencer.
One thing just about that last point, when a plane turns going that fast, it's because of the initiation of movement, and you would feel that change in direction. But since the Earth is already spinning, I feel like that wouldn't affect it as much.
That's not true. If a plane's going in a perfectly straight line, as soon as it starts turning, you feel that turn. Turning is acceleration. There is a force. Take a plumb bob and it'll hang straight down. Now, if you're in a car perfectly going a perfect speed on a perfectly flat road, perfect suspension, that plumb bob will hang straight down, but it start taking the slightest turn, it's gonna lean to the side. No matter how long that turn is, no matter how big that turn is, it's going to lean to the side. And the speeds that they're talking about are just absolutely impossible. Again, you want to talk about planes? That's Angel's specialty. But let me just show you this real quick. So when I was coming into Mexico, about 125 miles out, the pilot said, hey, we're going to be heading down, seat backs up, we're going to be descending. Now, the pilot has to do, it's called the top of descent calculations. He's got 125 miles. He's at 35,000 feet. He's got to drop X number of feet per mile so he hits the runway. The problem with that calculation is it's a perfectly good calculation on a flat Earth. It's a flat Earth calculation. But in reality, if the Earth was a globe, the over 125 miles, there's over 2 miles of curvature. So he'd be 2 miles too high. Planes don't calculate for curvature. They treat the Earth as a stationary, level, non-rotating plane. Weird how that works.
Other questions? Russell.
Well, with that point, wouldn't it be different because the Earth isn't drastically curved? It's not like there's a certain drop off when it curves. It's so
it's so small. The Earth is so big. The Earth is so big that we don't notice the curve. Their math. You know how much curvature there is in just 3 miles? 6 feet. 10 miles, 66 feet. 100 miles, 6,000. That's more than 6,600 feet. That's more than a mile in 100 miles. There's Navy warships out there that can use the railgun, which fires a direct line projectile at another ship, and they target that ship with a laser beam from the first ship. A laser beam pinpointing where that's going to go at over 100 miles away. At 100 miles away, there should be a 6,000-foot hump of water in between them, but there's not. And it could see the other ship, but it's behind the curve. If we're outside playing hide and seek and you duck behind a hill, could I see you? We shouldn't be able to see that ship because it should be behind a mile of curvature.
No, we're back. We lost you there for a second, Dave. Oh. Yeah, we just have to unmute.
Yeah, you're muted, Dave.
I'm back. Now I'm back. I guess that was me. Where did you lose me?
You were talking about shooting a direct line from one ship to another, and the extent of curvature.
Oh yeah, so the railgun could shoot a direct line of sight, with lighting up the other target with a laser, and it could hit it. It should be behind a mile of curvature at that distance. A mile of curvature. Can you imagine a building a mile tall and you trying to shoot somebody on the other side of that building? Doesn't work.
Okay, Ryan.
What are your thoughts on the concept of gravity?
Yeah, gravity has never been personally No one's done an experiment to isolate, manipulate gravity ever. It's just a concept to hold together the heliocentric paradigm. But the reason why things fall down is because they're more dense than the medium they're in. So if I let go of a helium balloon, it's less dense in the air, so it floats, it goes up. If I get a rock, it's more dense in the air, so it goes down. If I throw the rock in water, it's more dense than water, it goes through the water. But if I get an apple and I throw it in the water, it's going to go through the air, it's more dense in the air, it's going to land on the water, and it's going to float because it's less dense than the water.
Electrostatics is the true force of this world. It is testable, measurable, repeatable, manipulatable. We can make things go up and down with electrostatics. And Walter Lewin from MIT, he says that electrostatics are what makes the world go round. They even say that electrostatics is 10 to the 32nd, 10 to the 36 power stronger than gravity. That number is so big you can't even fathom what it is, right? But when we say gravity gets into where we talk about air pressure, right? We're breathing air right now. Well, air needs to be contained. Air violently fills the available space. Well, we can't be adjacent to a space vacuum and have a high pressure atmosphere. We can't have a high pressure atmosphere. So that's not what I wanted to show. Well, actually, this is what I want to show. If we created a vacuum outside of this is air pressure. All of the air will just go right out into that vacuum. And if we actually just remove the outside, the container, all the air goes out. Now the claim will be gravity is going to hold it in. Gravity is going to hold it in. That's not true. Gravity will not hold. I'm looking for my where'd it go? The gas. Oh, gas and vacuum. Here it is. So here we have gas, a valve, and a vacuum. Gas, valve, vacuum. When we open up this valve, the air, the gas will violently fill. Ready? It just goes up and away. Why didn't gravity hold it down? Now expand this thing to 100 times the size, right? Expand it to 1,000 times the size. And the air is going to do the same thing, but even more violently, right? Air wants to escape. Here's a football in a vacuum chamber, right? It explodes because the air wants to go to the lower pressure, even when it's contained, right? So why does the air stick to the earth? Right? Electrostatics. Here's a balloon. We're gonna make it equal. We're gonna make it neutrally buoyant, right? So we're gonna roll up the string. Hold on, let me get to there. And just by putting his hands around it, he's manipulating it where it goes with electrostatics. Electrostatics is the real force, and then buoyancy and density sort everything else out. There you go.
All right, Spencer and.
Just kind of touching back on the rotation of the Earth. If you are standing on a train car and you jump, you're going to land back on that train car because you're moving along with it. And I feel like that might apply to the same kind of concept of rotation because we're already rotating, spinning, and moving with the Earth.
The Earth is not going in a straight line. Every one of the Earth's motions is curved. So if the train was taking a turn and you jumped, you're going to land not where you took off from. Every motion of the Earth is curved.
You've used the container, so you've proved that you have to be in a container for that to work. Also, if you're in a train that's not moving, it's the same thing. But also, your globe claims to have a Coriolis effect, which is the apparent deflection of an object in a rotating system. So Neil deGrasse Tyson said the field goal was aided by the Earth rotation. So by you saying that we're inside of a train and the Coriolis effect doesn't happen, you've just debunked Neil deGrasse Tyson and the Coriolis effect, which is true. The Coriolis effect does not happen on the Earth. When we hover in a hot air balloon, the Earth does not rotate under the hot air balloon. But we're told that snipers, when they take a shot, they have to adjust for Coriolis. So if we put that sniper in the hot air balloon and he takes a shot, what do you think is going to happen? Is the Earth going to rotate under the bullet, but not the hot air balloon?
You're told again a lot of things. Like in the first class, at the end, the guy asked, why do airplanes go in curved routes? And we showed that they don't go in curved routes. They just show you that they go in curved routes, right? And it's just like what you asked. What did you? It's the same point. It's what was what question you just asked? I just lost my mind.
If you put it yourself in a train and you jump or whatever.
Oh yeah, but if the train's not moving, what happens? The same thing, right? You're in a container, but if that train was turning, you would land somewhere else, right? People say, well, what about an airplane? I could drink a glass of water and go to the bathroom. And I'm like, well, first you want to compare an airplane to the spin, just the spin of the Earth, which is the slowest motion. You have to double the speed of the airplane from 500 to 1,000 miles an hour. You have to remove the outside shell of the airplane. And then you have to nose down at a mile per minute to follow the curve of the Earth. Let me know how your water's doing and if you still need to go to the bathroom.
Okay. Onslow?
You said earlier, you said something about like the sun and the moon moving and like the way the sun like comes down through the dome. So what do you think about like the atmosphere? Because you were talking about like gas escaping and just flying off into the vacuum. So do you not believe that we have an atmosphere?
No, we have an
No,
atmosphere. Good.
We have gas that we're breathing, but a gas again needs a container. You can't bring me 5 pounds of any gas without a container using gravity. You have to use a container to bring me the gas. Now they claim that gravity again holds gas molecules to the Earth. The problem with that is gas molecules move randomly in all directions. Something that moves randomly in all directions does not have a bias for down. So I mean, any gas I bring to you or have with me needs a container, but they're telling you that the Earth is the only thing that exists that has gas pressure that doesn't have a container because of gravity. But again, gas molecules move randomly. They do not have a bias for down. That means that gravity is not holding gases down and they seek vacuums. If that was true what they were claiming, all the air on the Earth would violently fill the vacuum and we'd all be dead.
Just to follow up here, is I think the question, maybe I'm wrong here, is there like a literal dome that is acting like a container?
There's something, we can't make a solid claim about it, but there has to be something containing us. Now, one thing flat earthers say, and it's true. I mean, everyone should say it, that gas needs to be contained, and you can't have gas high pressure like we're breathing adjacent to a vacuum. I don't believe space is a vacuum. I believe space is water, right? So you just need air pressure to hold up whatever it is that's holding those waters. The firmament could just be a frequency that to us seems solid, like crystal, but to other vibrational beings, it may not be a physical thing. So you can't make a claim to it other than we do live in some sort of containment. Angel?
Yeah, well, just very simply put, like I said, all the gas laws and the second law of thermodynamics and gas behavior needs containment for that gas. If you look up in Google the definition of gas pressure, it's going to tell you it's the amount of force exerted by the molecules on the walls of a container. If you don't have the container in the way, you're not going to have gas pressure. If you try to blow a balloon up without the balloon, if you just blow out air from your mouth, it's just going to fill the available space and you're going to lose that gas pressure. So you need to have a tire in the way to pump it with air.
When you're trying to defend the globe, the only thing you can do is look up at the sky and make claims about things that you really can't make claims about. The lights in the sky are provably not what they say they are, but to make anything, any other solid claim about them other than their lights in the sky is not fair. I think that the source of the sun is above the firmament and we see a reflection. Here I have a glass dome sitting on a white rug. I'm just going to bring a pen light across over it. And as I bring the pen light in, it appears there. It just kind of appears on the horizon. It rises over. And as it goes away, it'll go down to the horizon and it'll disappear again. It's never going below the horizon. So imagine you're standing inside this dome and there goes the sun and it's gone. And then it comes back. I just turning around. It wouldn't come back. It would come around. It just appears on the horizon. It goes through midday and then it goes away and it disappears again.
Okay. Brandon?
Do you believe in time?
Time? What is time?
Like
Time is measured by the movement of the sky. The sun and the sun, the moon, and the stars are the definition of time. That's how we measure time. The sun measures the hours and the days. The moon measures the weeks and the months, and the stars measure the seasons and the years. Without it, we wouldn't know anything about time.
Yeah, we got that concept of time from the sky.
Yeah, and the way we perceive the world, we live in a linear time. There's now, there's before, and there's after. I personally think that from the other side, all time is simultaneous. Everything is instantaneous, but I can't prove that to you.
Okay. All right. Now let me get Dylan here. She hasn't asked a question yet. Dylan, speak up.
Louder, please. Can't hear you.
Do you believe that this is true for all planets in our solar system? This concept?
We are the only known terra firma there is. We're actually the center of creation, and we have luminaries above us to tell time. That's again where we got our concept of time from. Was the sky clock? The sky is a perfect map and a clock, and we are the only terra firma there is. The stuff in the sky they've told you is terra firma that you can land on, but that's just ludicrous. Again, they're not the things in the sky are separate to the Earth. It's a separate system, right. and the shape of them doesn't prove the shape.
You're shown stuff by Disney and NASA, and as I said earlier, is Disney's more credible than NASA. What planet would you think this is? Jupiter? Jupiter, everyone agree? So you'll believe anything that any authority tells you, right? But it's not. It's a meadow with ducks and grass and water, right? But you can look at something. If you don't know what it is, you can assume it's something. That's all it was, right? And the pictures that they show us of these other planets, this is in a NASA studio. They painted this. Right. And then in 2014, we got the picture of Jupiter that looks just like that painting. This is the 2014. And then in 2016, they said, oh, Jupiter has a magnetic core because look, we can see the northern lights. Look how crappy this is. Right. You could do this in Photoshop paint. But the difference is these are all gases spinning in different directions. Look, every cloud is exactly the same. Over 2.5 years. Every cloud, nothing changed. This is from NASA. Therefore, you cannot trust anything NASA ever says or shows you. Absolutely not. Completely.
So you feel that NASA is a hoax?
Look, this is from NASA. This is the Voyager heading to NASA. So you see this is over a couple days, weeks, whatever it is, right? So all of this movement, but then those two pictures, every single cloud is the same. What do you think, David? Do you trust NASA?
Well, you have a couple of folks who are. Russell, why don't you?
So you're telling me that just because of two pictures that you think are photoshopped or whatever, you don't disbelieve them?
Just two pictures?
If Angel told you two lies, you're just going to completely not believe anything he says ever?
I would have an issue if he lied to me on purpose and I caught him in it, and maybe I'd give him another chance. But there's many things that NASA lies about, and we catch them all the time. I mean, like on the International Space Station, we can catch them. They screw up. Their wires get tangled when they're coming in. This one's a little hard to see, and we don't have time to analyze it. But you can see the wires underneath their shirts, right? We can see them, on a spacewalk. They got their shoes on the wrong feet. That's weird, right? His shoes are on the wrong feet. I don't know how that could possibly happen, but we'll just say that. That's just crazy, right? And then we have Kamala Harris talking to them live on the space station, right? But if we watch his hand here, they're always playing with a wire, and that wire goes right through his wrist, showing you that this is AI, right? Watch, here comes the wire, goes right through his wrist. Here it goes through his wrist. See it? In his wrist, through his wrist, right? So again, that's just one. Let's go. You want to keep going? We can go and go and go and go.
I got a question. Do you believe that the moon landing is real?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
You still don't believe that we went to the moon ever?
No,
go ahead.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So going to the moon violates the second law of thermodynamics, all the gas laws, and Newton's third law. So yeah, have you guys actually watched the moon landing? By the way, I'm just curious. Has anyone in this class actually watched it?
Go on.
Footage from.
Oh man, GTA 5 graphics is better than that shit, man. Come on.
Yeah, way better, way better, way better.
It does look like it was filmed on a soundstage.
Yeah, and there's a whistleblower that was involved with the filming of it on the Air Force base, and on his deathbed he couldn't live with himself, and he told his son, and his son couldn't do it because the repercussions would be severe. So his son had cancer, and he made a video and gave it to Bart Sabrell, a guy who did A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. And he said, when you hear of my death, you can air this, and he did. And he named dates, times, places, people, meetings, everything, exactly how they did it.
Let's go, Spencer. You're fine there. Okay, Ryan.
There's been a lot of because when we've had our space missions, there's been a lot of different astronauts that have unfortunately died from different rockets not working, and also there's been different events, for example, the incident with the Challenger. Do you not believe those happened?
So I think it was Gus Grissom. He made a comment. He said, if we can't, when they were doing a simulation or a test, on that launch pad, they're having problems communicating, and he said, how come if we can't communicate between two buildings, how the hell are we going to the moon? And then he actually did an unauthorized press conference and said that NASA is decades away from going to the moon. And then a couple days later, he was run over. Him and his family, their car stopped on a train track, and they were run over by a train owned by NASA. Right? Oh no! I'm sorry. That's two different stories. That's another guy. He hung a lemon on the door of the rocket, saying this thing's a lemon. And that's the one where they all burned up. Where they said, oh, they put too much oxygen in there, and they all burned to death on the pad. And before they told his wife, they went over and took all of his computers and his files and everything before they even told him that she was dead, that he died. So if you start looking into all of these things, it is unbelievable. But you want to talk about the Challenger. 6 of the 7 astronauts are still alive. They have exact doppelgangers, same names, same age, same mannerisms, same voice, and they're all working at universities.
So the Challenger astronauts, they're still alive. So then, I guess the question I'm just asking on behalf of students, then why would they show the Challenger exploding?
They do it it's called trauma-based mind control. They literally, every kid wants to be an astronaut, so they needed to delay it. They also, again, stuff that you guys aren't ready for, which is this is a very spiritual, energetic world that we live in, this realm. And there's a war for energy, whether you believe it or not. I can't help you, right? And they want us to live in fear. They want us to have this, what's called louche energy. And that's why they keep us in fear. They make scary movies, roller coasters. It's all about extracting this louche energy. And they traumatized every kid in the world. They, or at least in America, they brought TVs into all of the classrooms for first time ever. And they blew this thing up. And the stories behind it, when you look into it, it's unreal. This guy, Richard Scobie, he had a company called Cows and Trees, and his website had a rocket taking off, doing this crazy little loop-to-loop, making the same smoke pattern that the Challenger made. It's like he was trying to send a message out there where and we made videos about it, and then the website got taken down. We still have them, but it's wild when you start looking into this stuff.
Paul.
What do you have to say about people that have sailed around the globe and also people that have sailed to Antarctica?
Good.
Yeah, well, circumnavigation is not exclusive to a globe. If I walk around my neighborhood in a circle, if I imagine my house is a giant magnet and I get a real compass and I stand away from my house and I want to travel east or west, I'm going to be doing a giant circle around my neighborhood and coming back to where I started.
Yeah, here we have a magnet and I have a compass. So the compass is pointing north. I'm trying to head west. I have to keep turning to the right to maintain a heading of west, right? I have to keep turning and I end up right back to where I started from. I can also go east, which is the opposite direction. So east would be perpendicular to north, and east is a circle. Now, this does not prove the earth is flat because it's the same on a globe. It's the same on a globe, right? The problem is if I want a dead reckon west. So here I am. Now I'm going to say west is that way. And I'm going to follow the stick. And as soon as I start moving, the compass turns and now I'm heading south. How'd that happen? Every straight line is south.
They've told you that if you they've told you that if you travel in a straight line on the Earth, you actually come back to where you started. That's actually false. If you travel in a straight line on the Earth for long enough, you will end up south.
Yeah. Amelia Earhart went around the world and stopped at all of these places just like this. That's a circle. It's the same on a globe. It's the same on a flat Earth, except on a globe, it wouldn't work because we'd all be dead.
Ricardo?
So, what do you think is on the other side of the Earth?
Say that again.
What do you think is on the other side of the Earth?
What's on the other side of a lake?
Water. No.
We don't know. The deepest hole ever dug is 7.8 miles. And when they were digging that hole, they were using ground penetrating radar and other tech to see what they were going to hit next. And they were wrong every step of the way. At 7.8 miles, they hit an impenetrable barrier and they couldn't get through. They tried for years and they couldn't get through. So that would be like drilling through the skin of an apple. Not even through the skin of an apple, a quarter of the way through the skin of an apple. Wrong every step of the way. And then all of a sudden, they know what the center of the earth is, right? This is complete and total pseudoscience. They couldn't even tell you what's in the first 7 miles, and somehow they know what's in the center or the core of the earth. This is complete made up. They say this is a molten magnetic core. There's a thing called the Curie point, which they never taught you about in school. That's where you heat a magnet long before it melts, it loses all its magnetism. How do you have a molten magnet? They also tell us that the core of the earth is almost the same temperature as the sun, as the surface of the sun. So doesn't heat travel through a solid conduct through a solid better than they do with through a vacuum? This is my teacup here. It's got a 1/4-inch vacuum in between the inner wall and outer wall, and my tea will stay hot for 2 days in here, right? But if I filled that with dirt, it would be cold in just as fast as if it was sitting out, open air, right? So somehow the superheated core of the earth doesn't cook us, but the sun makes us, super hot in the summer.
The core of
good.
The core of the Earth is claimed to be the same temperature as the surface of the sun. So imagine, right? We get the surface of the sun, we move it physically so it's touching the Earth. The Earth would vaporize. So we've got a mini sun in the middle of the Earth, they claim, and it's not doing anything to the Earth. It's just somehow existing there, no problem, when no material on Earth would be able to withstand that temperature.
What you guys are doing right now, which is normal, I'm not picking on you, is you are scrambling to make sense of all of the things that are stored in your brain as truths, things that you were tested on, things that you were told, things that you believed, things that you've based your life on these fundamentals. You're scrambling for a way to prove us wrong, but you can't, because we're not wrong. And all of the things that are stored as truth in your mind are incorrect. Your teachers don't know that they're incorrect because they're teaching them. They believe them, but they've never actually tested them. You've never tested our planet's real. You've never tested any of the things that you were told about the earth. Never. We have. We've measured it. Angels was out recently filming across a lake with, how far was the test? How far did you go?
Which one, sorry?
The one with Darcy, didn't you recently?
I think that was 35 miles.
35 miles.
35 kilometers. 35 kilometers.
They could see each other, and that's impossible on a ball.
We just got a few minutes left here. Abby, you had your hand up.
How do you explain earthquakes?
The earth moves, and it's yeah.
Yeah.
What did you say?
The earth quakes. The earth moves.
The earth yeah.
Right. So you can feel when the earth moves, but not when it spins, whirls, or twirls. But when it shakes just a little bit, you feel it, and it makes your senses go nuts.
So how do you explain tsunamis then?
Tsunamis are from an earthquake, and tsunamis are actually very, very interesting because a tsunami, when it hits an island or even a big continent, it'll wrap around that continent. But the problem is, when a tsunami hits Antarctica, it doesn't. It treats it like the edge of a circular lake, and it doesn't wrap around. I think I have an animation right here. So there was a big earthquake here in South America, and if Antarctica was a continent, it would wrap around, but it doesn't. It just went out and filled the whole area. It didn't wrap around Antarctica. You'll see it wrap around Australia, but it didn't wrap around Antarctica, and it never does. I think this is maybe I got another one here. Yeah, it didn't wrap around Antarctica. Tsunamis actually prove that the Earth is flat. Here it is. This is the one. It just wrapped around. It should have been showing up over here if the Earth was a globe. So this is just the map put into an AE map, right? There's all different types of projections, and it should have wrapped around, and you should have been seeing it over here, but it never happened because the Earth is flat.
Okay. Let me. All right, follow up then Brandon.
So with the tsunami, you said that earthquakes are just the earth like shaking or quaking. So technically, like with your with how you see it, wouldn't every earthquake cause a tsunami? But it doesn't.
No, not necessarily. It depends on how big it is, and a lot of them do. A tsunami out in the ocean, you wouldn't even notice it if you're out in the ocean. It's only when it comes into shallow water that it builds up. If there's a tsunami coming and you're on a boat, just go out of the harbor and you'll be fine, right? It's just a low wave, and then it piles up as the water gets lower. That energy just piles up and creates. It depends on the angle that it goes. Now, again, you can dig down deeper. There are frequency weapons that create earthquakes. It's a whole nother rabbit hole, which we definitely don't have time to go into, but I encourage you all to go to my website, flatearthdave.com, watch the documentaries there. It says Crash Course. Watch some of my interviews. I've done over 1,400 interviews. Follow Angels of Light on TikTok, and don't believe anything we say. Don't believe anything anyone says. Verify everything that's important to you, and this should be the most important thing to you because it's hiding your true potential if you don't look into it.
Brandon?
My final question is, if the earth was flat, why are there mountains? Why are there, holes? Why are there hills all over?
It's a topographical plane, level plane. It's a topographical level plane.
So what made those mountains? If it's not tectonic plate shift?
That's another question. I encourage you guys to get my app. It's free if you just have your teacher email me, tell me what type of phone you have. But if you go here, there's all sorts of stuff. Look into the giant trees and all sorts of biogeology. Everything you're taught is nuts. Just look into it. What made the mountains? I can't even answer that because all different things. But again, check out on YouTube My Lunch Break. Just My Lunch Break. Watch those videos, and then you'll start to understand.
Brandon.
This is my last question. So have you ever been in the ocean?
Of course.
You know how there's a drop off in the ocean?
Yeah, continental shelf.
That's it curves.
No, it doesn't.
You mean the horizon curves?
I'm talking about in the ocean. You ever been deep down in the ocean?
Well, actually, 70% of the Earth is water, and 50% of that is abyssal plains, which is flat level. The ocean floor is admittedly flat.
Yeah.
All right, so you're suggesting, Brandon, that the drop off.
It's not curvature. He's suggesting that it's curvature as you go away. It doesn't go down and away. That's not true. 50% of the Earth's ocean is abyssal plain. It's flat, level bottom of the ocean with no curvature.
Ansa?
I have one more question because you mentioned earlier that Earth is the only land planet that you can even stand on. So what do you think about Mars and the rovers?
All fake.
Yeah, so basically, yeah,
I have
completely
something
fake.
else to add on about that. I have something else though. One of my close cousins worked on the Perseverance rover.
No
So
doubt,
when
and it's not. And so your cousin worked on the rover. Did he see it go into space other than on TV?
he was there when it launched, yes.
It was there when it launched. And did you watch the rocket's path? Right, when all rockets that go up go and they curve over so they don't hit the firmament. They all curve over and crash into the ocean. Nothing goes into space because it's a violation of natural law. They all curve over. They say, "Oh, it's just getting up to they'll go around the Earth." How come planes leaving trails behind them don't curve like this? Right? They go farther than that. These are all it's all just a show for your imagination. They all just curve and crash right into the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, you can't go to a law violation. Again, the space vacuum violates natural law. Mars is claimed to be in a space vacuum that's violating natural laws.
And Werner von Braun, the Nazi scientist, wrote a book in 1957 called Project Mars, and there's his rocket going to Mars. And in his book, it's about a group of people that go to Mars, led by a guy named Elon. And now we have a guy named Elon that's going to Mars with a very similar rocket. Right? It's all a show. All of it, everything you've ever seen, all politics, everything. It's all a show, and you are the victim of it. It's whether you believe it or not. And here's the beautiful thing: they always tell us the truth. They put the truth out there, but you need to have the courage to see it and call it out.
Well, David and Angels are like, thank you for presenting to us. We appreciate that.
Thanks. Groundhog Day again.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Good questions. Thank you for asking. We can keep going, but
take the time, everybody. Take the time and look at this stuff. It will change your life forever. It'll change your life forever.
Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. The people of this world are unable to see that the sky is a perfect clock. It tells us where we live and proves that we don't live on a ridiculous, wet, lumpy, spinning space rock in an impossible expanding universe. It's time to learn the truth and take our world back from the people that have stolen it from us. Get the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app and free your mind from the heliocentric globe lie.